$5,000. Cash payment to anyone who can prove that what lying son of a devil Farrakhan is preaching is consistent with the lessons, supreme wisdom, of Master Fard Muhammad Elijah Muhammad's representation of his teacher Master Fard's teachings.
Assalamu alaikum, sisters and brothers. This is my Rahim here, Messenger Covenant, breaking 7 seals. This challenge has been out there, for several years, brothers and sisters. And no one, absolutely no one, they're aware of it. Put it on their website. They responded. They didn't respond directly to me. They make all kinds of nasty comments and things, but no one has stepped up to take that challenge. Not one. It should be easy, because that's what God claims for the last 40-some years. It should be easy. I mean, no one over there can step up, even, question it. Nothing. Zip. Years. Not peep. Because they can't. Okay, brothers and sisters, new series called Wisdom. And we're going to go into what's actually going on. Because you're going to need to know, brothers and sisters. Because hell is breaking loose. Right before your eyes, but most of the eyes are closed. Or it's so dark that we can't see what's in front of us. But you will in a minute. So a couple of things, then we'll proceed.
Do you then believe in a part of the book and disbelieve in the other? What then is the reward of such among you as do this but disgrace in the life of this world, and on the day of resurrection they shall be sent back to the most grievous chastisement? And Allah is not heedless of what you do. 86 These are they who buy the life of this world for the hereafter, so their chastisement shall not be lightened, nor shall they be helped.
They do it on a regular basis, brothers and sisters. Excuse me. On a regular basis. Distort this. Easy to prove it. They just quote the scriptures all the time. Believe part of the book. The main substance, the core of Elijah's message, the core of the message that Master Muhammad presented to us, the core that makes us who we are, the core of why we went through what we went through, the core of our future, the core of our vision. That's the part they leave out. The actual core, leaving us with nothing. I mean, Farrakhan is used to doing that because the nation didn't fall. Him and Walls tore it down, started something new, so there wasn't a nation of Islam to remain. And that's why people fell away, because there wasn't any leadership. Leadership was gone. There wasn't any nation of Islam. It was totally destroyed by Farrakhan and Wallace, and liquidated all the assets, and left the believers with absolutely nothing. All that hard work, all the believers put in. Some people went to jail, some people died. Working with Elijah to build, 40-some years. And they destroyed it overnight, took all the money, ripped it off, took all the money, and we never seen a dime of it. Left us with nothing. They had a big old complex right across the street from that school on 87th Street, I believe it is in Chicago. I lived in there. Beautiful. Money in their pockets. Palm Street newspaper. We print our own paper. Big plant. Almost a block long. Well, it was a block long. How big it was. They print. I second print their so-called final call. Print our own paper. And I was a foreman at a night shift. Gone. Had a car. You know, it was Grenadiers. There was a big thing back there. It was a gangster car, right? Brand new. Financed through Nations Bank. Gone. wife at the time has passed. She was the manager at MGT dress shop. Gone. Your supermarket where you buy groceries. Gone. Bakery. Gone. Clothing store. Gone. All gone. Farmers all gone. Farms all gone. They destroyed all, took the money, and ran. That's what Farrakhan, they tell a lying Farrakhan. We never saw a dime of it. And he never apologized. People went, he said himself, people went crazy. People went back to, and they're going back to jail. People went back to the streets, selling drugs and everything. They didn't know what to do. Not doing that. Because they went further. They didn't just stop there. Then they attacked the messenger's credibility, his nature, his name. He was nothing. He wasn't no messenger. Farrakhan would say stuff like, if anybody leaves a message 100%, they was a fool. Yes, words come out of his mouth. He wasn't no prophet. He wasn't no messenger. Master Muhammad was just a trickster. Yeah. So he destroyed everything about the nation of Islam. He destroyed it. His own son hated him. Farrakhan right there, right with him. Been used to doing it. Taking everything. It was totally off. It was always totally off. And these clowns here, they support that. We're going to get further into this, brothers and sisters. They don't want you to know those things. I said, they believe part. See, the thing is, remember, they did all that. Now, what was Elijah Muhammad's core message? You know, I have a picture that I was there from 1775, and we had a picture of us going back home on a boat. I didn't include it here, I forgot. Right? And the messenger was at the helm of the boat, and we was all on the boat, this big old luxury liner. The Negroes that didn't want to listen to the messenger, they was on the shore, and the devils running after them, beating them with clubs. Elijah Muhammad was saying, if they only listen to us, and was on the way out of here. That was his core message. Return home. It was Master Muhammad came in to get us. Core message. In Malachi, message of the covenant. Elijah prepared the way for it. Right there. It's simple. Right there. You can. It's not in Spanish, not in Greek. In Exodus, Joshua will come after Aaron messed everything up. Who was Aaron? Aaron's one to see after Elijah for 40-some years. He can't miss that one. He would run the nation to the ground for 40-some years after Elijah departed. The God was after him, and even Moses after him. In fact, Moses tried to burn his ass up when he returned. Right there. And the mantle passed from Elijah to Joshua, right, went past Aaron, who never made it out of the wilderness. Okay, that's Exodus. Okay, both talking about the same thing, right? And then you go to Genesis, and what? What's the Genesis? The covenant. Remember, Malachi got the message out of the covenant. And Joshua, he's the fulfillment of the covenant. But now you got the covenant itself. And what the covenant says, after 40 years, 1619 or 2019, 40 years, after 40 years, we would return home. And Pharaoh was told to let us go. And if he didn't, he would receive plagues. And around time, 2019, 1619, 2019, the first plague was a plague that would kill the firstborn, the elderly, and pass over us, which it actually did. It did not affect Black Africa. It did not affect Haiti. Check the World Health Organization. They finally admitted the truth. And it didn't affect the kinfolk here, the black kinfolk. It was killing the skin folk, like Farrakhan, the seed of devils. Exactly what happened. Round time, 2019. And he didn't speak one word of it. One word of it. 2019, right on time. Yeah, so-called Savior's Day, 60 days later. End of February, 60 days later, and never spoke one word about it. Nothing. Until 7 months later in July, then he comes out with a mask. He knows all about it. And someone said, well, why come you didn't mention it in your so-called Savior? Oh, it didn't happen. See, he's a goddamn liar. It didn't happen. Nobody knew about it until March. Go check. Don't take my word for it. Go check. The world knew about it by March. Everybody knew about it in January because I wrote it. I had a presentation. I spoke on it in January. Let's move on, brothers and sisters. That's what's happening over there. Over here. Core message. 3 things you don't talk about, right? It says we'll go home and tell you exactly where we're going to. It says between the river Euphrates and the river of Egypt, which is Arabia. So you got you got the covenant. You got the messenger of the covenant. You got the identity of the messenger of the covenant. Messenger of the covenant would come 40 years after Elijah departed, after Aaron's reign. That's the messenger of the covenant. But no, that's Joshua. Joshua. Messenger of the covenant be somebody that Elijah prepared the way for. But before him, there'll be someone who was cursed with a curse for robbing the nation. Who is that person? Who's cursed with a curse? Cancer at 55, pissing shit in the bag. President can't even wipe his own ass. And then there'll be the messenger of the covenant, who's supposed to be the light, but they never met. You ever heard Lion Farrakhan? Anyone over there mentioned the messenger of the covenant was right there, right next to Elijah? Right next to Elijah and Malachi. Right next to it. Elijah's name, the messenger of the covenant, who Elijah prepared way for. Did they ever mention? No. Never. Did they ever mention Joshua? The name Joshua? Never. Aaron's after, Aaron's last. I said, no, there's someone coming after that. And then Malachi said, oh, Elijah last. Well, no, it said he prepared the way for the messenger of the covenant. In Exodus, after Farrakhan, Joshua, the one that takes us home. But we said we ain't going nowhere. They said we're not. In other words, Elijah's core message, he claims he represents Elijah. Elijah's core message was that was returning home. It even says that turn the fathers to the children to the fathers, and the fathers back to the children, back to our own people. But I'm going to stay here with the devils. It's right there. They never mentioned Joshua. That's the messenger of the covenant. He's going to take us home. He fulfills the covenant. They never mentioned the messenger of the covenant in Malachi. Never mentioned Joshua in Exodus. And they never mentioned the covenant itself. They read about 400 years in strange land, and the next verse, boom. Why is that? Why is that? Ask them. They never mentioned it. They're all on board. And they said, remember, those who believe in this part of the book and disbelieve in the other, is that what's happening right there? Because they don't say the rest, they disbelieve in the other, because they never mention it. So they're guilty of that right there. And it says for them it's a most, not just a grievous chastisement, the most. The worst you can think of, it's going to come down on them in a few more days. We're not talking years anymore, brothers and sisters. We're talking about this year, 2025, ending in December. End of December. This gets me, brother. This all of it gets me, but let's go.
I gotta do this. Do you mind? Yes, I'm gonna do something. I don't want to put my brother on the spot. See, this is this. This is something else. Love and faith transcends color. And the reason why we embrace Father Flay as a brother is because we find him on the battlefield of justice, being a true disciple of Jesus. And the last thing I'll say is you'll never call us racist.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Because this day that we honor
Yes, sir.
Master Fard Muhammad, if you see an image of him, put his image up.
Yes, sir.
That's the man whose father was a black man and his mother a Caucasian. And how many of us have a parent that's a Caucasian or grandparent? It's not about color. It's about our submission to the will of God. And in that we find common ground and unity.
Yes, sir.
So I'm only one shade lighter than you, so. And Mustafa maybe 4 more shades lighter. We a family.
Yes, sir.
Let's stay a family and be a family and love each other as God would have us to love each other. We love you, Father. Happy Savior's Day. Thank you. I had to do that. We love you. Go ahead.
One more time, brother.
Well, newsflash, Master Fard Muhammad, who they claim is the God who they worship, don't love him. He said they're all wicked, 100%, like snakes. And if you let them live, they will bite someone else. He says they've been trying to reform them. Many have tried to reform them and found that it's impossible to do it. Can't be done. So it's going to take them off the planet. All of them. I guess they didn't get that memo. That's what God says. And they claim that's right? That's why they don't cut the $5,000. Because all they got to do is look at the lesson, and the lesson is totally contrary to what they said. And here's the Benjamins. That's all about. They did. They ripped off the nation had a lot of property. I mean, I had almost zero contact with those at all. Zero. And then overnight was going, they took it, liquidated everything. See, Elijah Muhammad left everything in the nation's name. So it belonged to the people. That's why he had to go to court. Farrakhan's right there with him. He didn't say anything. He said, oh, I stood for the sheep. No, he didn't. Because he took the money and ran like everybody else. Like Ishmael's mother was hiding down in Mexico. He didn't stand for the sheep. They left us out there and the wolves came and just ate our ass up. He was gone with the money. Him and Wallace. Well, at least Wallace stayed around for a while and started his own thing called the Billions. Gone with the money, gone. Trying to get back on the stage. Tell him lying, Farrakhan. You didn't stand for the sheep. You saw the wolves coming. You cubs some sheep yourself. Got some lamb chops. Then the lamb chops ran out. You came back like a buzzard to eat what was left after the wolves got finished. That's what the fuck you did. I was there. Tell him lying, dog. He gonna present himself as some messiah now. That's what he would do when time comes. He ain't gonna stand for you. He gonna take what he can get and run. He's a fucking coward. What he did. Tell him lying, Farrakhan. Why they had to come and get you? Why they dig you up out of Arizona? You said the sheep was in trouble, so how come you weren't standing with the sheep, trying to hold things together? You probably been Elijah Muhammad's minister. That's where they got mad, because they said, hey, this, and that fool there, his son, hated his father. Everything about his father, hated him. He used to go out bad mouth and everything else. He was officially banned from Nation of Islam, officially permanently banned the time he was. So Farrakhan lied about that too, because I was there. So how did he get control? in control. Farrakhan should have been the one in control because he's a punk, he's a coward. Busy man. And so they went to court and got that money. Said, hey, that money belonged to my father. He did all this. And nobody stood. It would have been Farrakhan's job because he had standing, because he was the top minister. He didn't say a goddamn word, and they took everything and left us with nothing. All that hard work, Elijah Muhammad guided it, but we did the work. 300 papers a week. Security. We worked. And like I said, plus I was a foreman at Muhammad Speak newspaper, a night foreman. Worked our ass off. And before before us, died. Some of them died, right? They knew Master Fard Muhammad. I knew one brother, he looked like he was a white boy. I mean, he did. He was something. Because he used to be all vocal and everything, because everybody kept looking at him, because he was a white boy. In every respect. He was kind of big brother, right? He was a little taller. Well, Elijah Muhammad was about 5 feet tall. He's about 6 feet, I guess. Right? And he sold more papers than anybody because he wanted to be. And his name was Supreme Allah. Wow. So how the hell you get that name? Master Fard Muhammad gave it to him. Supreme Allah, that was his name. He was a white boy. He looked like a white boy. As far as skin concerned, he was a white boy. He looked more white than Master Fard Muhammad. But he got a name, so he was cool. But he said, no, he wasn't. He said he was original. He said, I don't know how it worked out. But he said, no, he wasn't white. He wasn't white. He was original. He said white skin, like the she over there. I know he used to work. He used to sell more papers than anybody, because I guess he wanted him. Because people look at him, the first thing they thought, man, what's this white boy doing up in here? Everything was gone, including the temple. Whilst, he was so cold-blooded. The chairs you're seeing there right now, I don't know if the same chairs, but the chairs Elijah had in there was gold-plated and everything. I mean, not gold-plated, but it was either golden fabric or something, I'm not sure. I can go and test it. They took all the chairs out, and everybody on the floor doing Sunni stuff. And I noticed I was watching one of the, and I was there during the theology of time. And what? I'm 76, or was that 40 years ago, whatever? I don't know. The thing is that I just noticed when we had Savior's Day, you didn't have to pay a ticket to get in Savior's Day. It was open to anybody want to come. Because I know as the FOI, we had the night before, we had to go and set the chairs. We did that ourselves. That was Elijah Muhammad's property. We set the chairs up and everything. So there's people in there. All that set was set by the FOI, not by the company that it was renting through or whatever, leasing through that night, that day. We did that ourselves. They didn't charge you a dime to come in. It was open. The only thing you had to go through a search procedure, but you had to pay a dime. And the one I saw yesterday, the last one, look at the one for 1974, his last Savior's Day, last one. And I forgot about that. Our Savior has arrived in the Book of Islam, another book. After it was over, and you said that place was packed. Farrakhan could do anything near that. That so-called mere man Frost not against that. The place be packed. And he had big auditoriums. Not that crap he did a while back where he said everybody was there, but he said it was in rooms. And it was only a few people there. He said, it was a big place, but we got him in rooms, so you can't. They're liars. They were packed. And he said, okay, when he got ready to leave, he said, I got these 3 books for y'all. Savior has arrived. It was 2 other books, a Book of Islam, another, but I can't remember. He says, when you out, just get one. It's free. We weren't ripping the people off. Now, where did that come from? That's come from our work. He said, here, brother, says, here's the book for y'all. This wasn't just, this was what the Lord's found. Free. Farrakhan, you got to pay what, $20, $30 or whatever. The government said bullshit, so-called, oh, Armageddon has arrived. Why must there be Armageddon? Oh, y'all look so cute out there today. Oh, bullshit. You seen Armageddon? You seen Armageddon? What, it's been 3 years now? You seen Armageddon? Move on, brothers and sisters. That's what it's all about. This fool here, he got cursed, cancer, and blew up at age 55, pissing shit in a bag. And he's even worse off now. They say he can't wipe his own ass. And this clown died from, the official diagnosis was diabetes. He went out tough, hard. Okay, let's move on, brothers and sisters. Let me check something real quick, brothers and sisters. Okay, brothers and sisters. See here. Okay, let me cover a couple of things, then we'll get into my main topic. I think it's going to be a 4 or 5 day series. Okay, here we go. Seasons. Birth of a nation. These are topics. I'm just going to cover seasons today. Birth of a nation, pillars, energy management, God, goddess, God, wisdom, atoms, physics, vectors, enemies, restoration, wars, paradise to God. And we're going to go into the wisdom of these things. So you're not getting any wisdom over there with those clowns. They don't have any. Islam is mathematics, Islam. I should include that, but and what we'll get good. It's all mathematics, brothers and sisters. Mathematics, if you understand how logic and thinking works, it's a thing called premise. Premise is like your foundation. And so once your foundation laid, that's your actual facts that you consider facts. That you consider facts. You've been told the facts. And then you make conclusions from that. You calculate that. Right? And then you come to a conclusion. So you get this information, like it's like you have a computer, right? You put numbers in. Right? Those numbers you put in, you say those numbers, it takes a calculation, and then you come up with an answer. Right? Assumes that these are numbers you put in there. That's the fact, the numbers. And you go through the calculation process, then you get an answer. Same thing in your process. You get information. That's your foundation. You set the facts. You calculate it. Calculate based on those facts, and you come to a conclusion. So if someone tells you that cats can fly, and you said that as a fact, because you don't know, say you're a child, you don't know. So then somebody comes and say, hey man, that dog is chasing it. Can dogs fly? No. Well, hell, that cat ain't got to worry about because he can fly away. You think that's a small thing? No, it's a big thing because right now you operating off of facts that you call facts that your enemy gave you. So you make conclusions based on the facts they gave you, you don't know if they're true or not. They're telling you they're facts. Oh, Jesus died and died for our sins. But you, Ham, you was cursed to be a slave forever. And we God's chosen people. This is our promised land. These heathen, we got rid of them. And you're not going to see heaven till after you die. And that's only if you good nigger for master. Those are facts they told you. The facts that you accept as facts before you came here, they were erased. Only thing that you operate on your premise is what they gave you. Which are they going to give you? They're going to give you information to keep you in their cage. What's your name? Nikki Boom Baba. Where you from? I'm from Detroit. What's your religion? I believe in Jesus. Same one that cursed me black and do me a slave forever. Those things told you. Capitalism is good. That's right. I mean, maximum profit, that's slavery by definition. I'm not going to all of that. So why we operating this way? Because that was the information that we had. That's what we calculated based on it. They told us those were facts. But they weren't our facts when we came here. Those facts don't exist over in Hindu land. They don't exist in Buddha land. Only exist right here in nigger land. For us. And so if you deal with those facts and you're a cat in dog land, the dog will give you actual facts. Which cat's no damn good, so you're going to hate yourself, beat yourself and everything else because you got a dog mind, but you're a cat. Not going to be happy. If somehow your nature comes to act like a cat, now you're a criminal because you're acting different than we acting, than our laws are. Laws reflect our nature. You don't see this, brothers and sisters? Who's promoting those facts? Farrakhan. Stay here. Because the solution is to get the hell away from here. Get some actual facts that's promoting you. You know, I was talking to someone the other day, and you know, the people that call themselves Jews, it says it right there. They're not. They're lying. They're not from the tribe of Judah. You are. They told you, no, you from the tribe of Ham. See, they deceive you. But they tell their children from the tribe of Judah. So they look around and say, well, how come they're so powerful when there's so few of them? Why are they so powerful in the world when there's so few of them? See what happened? Because they got facts that's in their favor that tells them they're powerful, they're God's chosen people. They're acting like that. How you acting? Like dumb niggas sitting around here, scratching their ass, hoes, bitch, punks, dogs. That ain't us. But Farrakhan accused us for being that way when we didn't make ourselves that way. And he's backing the people that gave us that false knowledge, false facts. Let him tell you real facts. That's your enemy. That was your enemy right there. And that's where you came from. That's your religion, and that's your name. And then all of a sudden, the people start rallying, and they start doing something for self, and start taking control. And what happened? Uh-oh. They shut that shit down. It's influencing people. People say, hey, they shut that down. So they start plotting against Elijah. Farrakhan was one of the plotters. How you know? They tell you that's associated, they was plotting against him. How you know who the plotters were? The ones that take control after the plotters hatched. Him and Wallace. He's owned by the devils. That's the exact fact. Tell them lying, Farrakhan. I was there. My wife at the time knew you personally. And so did her brother, who was the minister of Indiana. Goddamn coward. You know what I'm saying? So they told, hey, we're special people. We God's chosen people. And so they acted that way because that's the facts they have. They told them that and they believed that. And so we acting like we ain't nothing because they told us we're nothing. If you're going to be something, you got to be like we want you to be. You want to get out and roam around in the pasture, you got to put a saddle on your back, horse. Otherwise, you ain't going nowhere. You got to ride around your back. Before you were starting, you was doing your own thing. But now I got you. If you want to move around, walk around, or run, you got to make sure I'm on your back to do it. Come on, brothers and sisters. Seasons. Okay. Now they have a 26,000 year cycle. It's approximate. Elijah Muhammad says like closer between 24 and 25,000. Anyway, the bottom line is probably 6,000 years. 4 times 6,000 years is 24,000 years. That's why they come to 6,000 years. They round it off. 4 of them. See, because the Earth complete cycle, it takes, see up top where that thing going around the top. That's how long the axis. The Earth has an axis, and it takes that long for that to complete one complete circle. So that's like a year, like for a universal year, so to speak. Now, that's loosely way of saying it, right? So, because a year is when the Earth completes one cycle around the sun. This is when it completes one axis, complete total circle. So that's a cycle too. And so there's 4 parts to it, just like the Earth going around the sun, there's 4 parts, right? Spring, summer, fall, and winter. You also have that in these 6,000 years of peace. So we just came through a winter cycle. We're coming through a winter cycle now. That's 6,000 years. Now we're approaching a spring cycle. Understand that. This is not just rhetoric. This is, so you see the circles forming at the top and the bottom there, if you can see that. And here's another way, right? You're spinning. Okay, then short here, so anyway. But that axis, that point, that's what's turning around. Here's another way. Here you go. See? See? It's right. It's turning around. It's right now a circle. It takes 25 years, 24 and 25 years, 25,000 years to complete that. And it starts over again. So it's 4 6,000 year periods. So it's 4 seasons. Four I guess you call it solar seasons. Called axis seasons. I don't think there's a particular name for it. In the sense I'm talking about it. I gotta come with a name, right? Okay, vibes. Now, our reality is based on pressure. Now, you need go and study it. Pressure all around you. The atmosphere, pressure on us. Sound is pressure. Right? Talk, listen. Right? Heart pressure, blood pressure, right? Lung. Our whole resistance is based on pressure. Period. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. You may understand that, but you will understand eventually. Right? So the atmosphere, right? We talk. He said, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was God. Why I say that? That's the Word, is it. Word became flesh. So the Word is all about Word. But what? How we receive wisdom in the Word. But I'm going to do it another way here, right? Okay. So the atmosphere is vibrations, currents. I'm talking right now, I'm sending out sound waves. It's vibrations. I'm sound vibe, right? And depends on, I know you say language and everything else, but also depends on the frequency and the vibrations, how impactful it will be. Say we all speak the same language. You still feel, I mean, if somebody's angry, I don't care what language it is they talk, you're going to know it. You might not understand what they're saying, but you're not angry because you can feel the vibes. You understand that? So that's just for simplicity. All speak the same language, right? So then you got, so I'm speaking to now vibrations. That vibration depends on how much energy I have. If I'm real weak, I'm barely talking. I got a lot of energy. I'm talking. I'm really turning that vibration. I'm turning up the volume. Got a lot of energy. Depending on how much energy, the strength of that vibrations. What they call it? Not resonance. Amplitude. So you got amplitude. You got frequency, vibrations. All that depends on how much energy you have. So if energy gets lower and lower, you're going to have less and less of it. But it also means, right, your thought process is going to go down because you need energy to think. Because you're not thinking too well when you sleep, are you? And you understand the universe, the Quran tells you all the energy at the beginning, so-called beginning, the earth and heavens are one. That means all in one place. That was called the Big Bang. And then expanded. We expanded it. So that means if we did that, means all the energy that used to be here is not there now. That means less energy on the planet. That means less vibrations, less energy for us to do things. Right? So the point I'm trying to make is that each season has its own vibrations. Now, the winter season was came to it, low vibrations. Low vibrations. But see, some animals can handle lower vibrations and prosper, and others can't. Like, the polar bear, he can handle winter. It's no big deal for him. But the grizzly bear, he got to go into hibernation, can't handle it. So without going into much detail, right? If we were like a Lamborghini high structure, so with less energy, it's harder for us to move around. At some point, we don't have enough. You put gas in the car, so it's just sitting there. But if you got a Volkswagen Beetle, hey, it don't take that much. Pay for insurance, pay for parts, so you're still driving around. Well, I'm sitting there, I got a better car, but I can't do anything with it because I don't have enough energy, right? Money. If you understand that basic analogy, that's where the devils came from. But we produce someone, make mischief blood, a lower structure, but they're able to rule. We still submit to that. That's the basic. I'm trying to get you to understand about vibes before I go into my next. I'm getting ready to talk about next. So we just come to the winter. In the winter season, the vibrations are very low. So that means the thinking patterns are very low. And the vibration is very low. Because the vibration will reflect the thinking patterns. So the thinking patterns are very low. The vibration, energy levels in the winter is lower, right? It's cold. Cold means low energy. That's how you get cold. By taking energy out of something. You warm it up by adding energy to it. So the vibrations, the mental vibrations were low. Beginning was the word, and the word was with God. So what happens? Now, when you get scriptures, the scriptures give you the vibrations, because remember it's word. You read it and you start thinking, so it gives you the vibration you need for that season. It gives you the vibrations you need for that season. So anybody responding to those vibrations, they'll be successful through that season. That's what the scriptures do. Scriptures come in words. Scriptures don't come with a knife and a fork or a bomb. It comes with just words. And the person speak those words, they put vibrations. And if people respond to those vibrations, they're the ones successful because those are the vibrations for that season. So the winter season has certain vibrations, certain wavelength, certain frequency, and that on that frequency, on that wavelength, right? On that vibration scale, you're successful. That was the devil. And by submitting to that level, then we was able to survive amongst them, even though we wasn't as powerful because that's not our natural. But we was able, by submitting to that, right, we was able to survive it. They was able to rule because they didn't require as much energy. Remember? You Lamborghini, they force back and beat them. But by submitting to that vibration, that level, that wisdom, that understanding, we were able to survive it. Those that wouldn't. It was bad for us, but it allowed us to survive because we had to be in tune with that. That was not good for us. That's why angels told us to submit. And then jinn said, we're not going to do it. That's assuming Arabs over there. They didn't submit. So what? For the last 500 years, have they been successful? No. Because they're on a different wavelength, on a different frequency, and they can't handle those vibrations. So they have not been successful at all. Zero in the last 500 years since Adam came on the scene. We have been not successful either. But we haven't been fighting them. We've been surviving. Thanks to the sisters, that was possible. Hope you understand that. Submitting, that was not good for us, but allowed us to survive. Those that couldn't, they got killed, slaughtered, their seeds are gone. They fought against it, they haven't had more success. Remember, because we might be a Lamborghini, but they like a BMW, so they had some power, a little. But not expensive. But still, they had to submit to Adam on that frequency, that wavelength. On that stress of vibrations. Okay? You understand that? So then it says the messenger of the covenant will come. Because now the spring is coming in. Now it's coming to vibrations. That's the angel, right? The crown was 1,500 years ago. This is the vibration of the spring is coming in. Heat dispels cold. So this come in is, because remember, the winter vibrations is lower energy, this higher energy. So now it's putting more energy into the atmosphere. That means a stronger truth. A stronger truth. Well, the devils had truth. Why do you think God told you to submit to him? Because that was the truth of the winter. Or you don't like it, what was the truth of the winter? Make Mr. shed blood was the truth of the winter. You understand these things. Why we tell to submit to someone, we should submit to him, but that was the truth of the winter. That was the truth. But now the winter's over. It's coming to an end. So Master Muhammad shows up and said, hey, wait, hold it. A new frequency coming in. Get ready for it. Here, Elijah, prepare the way, because spring is coming in. And the message is coming a new frequency, a new wavelength, high vibes. Tell everybody to get ready for them. They didn't even know there was a spring. Because they told them, the winter, that's not going to be like this forever. So we thought it was going to be that condition forever. Then Master Muhammad said, no. Spring coming, and you are son of people. That's good for you. But the winter people are going to try to hold on to the winter. Hold on to that frequency, but they can't because this is high energy. And it's changing. The reality is, this reality here is based on this frequency, this vibration, this wavelength. That's just reality. The one for the sealed Bible. But now the unsealed Bible, you're releasing higher energy. It's like, you got the music turned off, and now you turn it on. turn up the volume. We got a neighbor next door playing some music. Then you turn yours higher than theirs. Oh, so you can't hear theirs no more. Blow theirs away. That's what's happening. And so now it's telling you, you got to adjust to this wavelength, this frequency, this level of vibrations, this vibration intensity. If you want to be successful, because that's what's going. It's getting. It's going overpowers the lower frequency, lower wavelength. That's what Angel's doing. That's why it says, preach to the four winds. Keep putting those vibes out there. Keep on putting those vibes, because it throw a rock in the lake, start moving, make the lake move. How small the rock is, start getting waves, vibrations, start putting vibrations in the lake. That's what's going on. Keep doing it. Keep going. And it's changing the world, because now the world have a new thought. New thoughts coming in, new ideas, vibrations, what more energy. So what is global warming? That means more energy to the earth. They tell you that's a bad thing for them. Bad thing for them, but it's a good thing for us, because global warming means the earth is more available to us, because the two poles that's frozen right now is going to melt. So now you got two more continents available to us. So-called North and South Pole. And they weren't always frozen, because they go, just Google it. When they dig under the ground, they find fossils and vegetation, everything else. It just frozen because when the energy was going out there, everything got colder and colder here. So now you got poles, you got deserts. So now when global warming, the water level is going to rise. It's going to destroy most of their cities, because most of their cities are built along the coastline. It's going to more water. That means the desert's going to go away. The poles are going to turn into paradises. But they don't want that, because that destroys them. They can try to stop it. They can't. They try to convince you that, hey, it's a bad thing. See how you have you thinking backwards, have you thinking against yourself. So now you want to fight global warming. Global warming is destroying them. We don't have to do anything. If we want to sit and wait, global warming will destroy them by itself. They're telling you that. Global warming is going to cause us destruction. It will. We got to go to war with them. It's going to destroy them. They're losing control of it right now. That's from us. We're going to get into that in a minute. You understand? A new frequency, new vibrations. That's the angel. If that hits you, it's going to hit you in a minute. That's new world coming in. Putting the vibes out there, destroying what's the vibes that's out there already. Operating on a lower frequency, which is bad for us, cold for us, because we're summer people. We operate on very high frequency. Our natural frequency, our natural wavelength, our natural vibes are much greater than theirs, but we don't have enough energy like we have enough. Hey, I got a big boom box, man, but my batteries don't run low. I got this big old boom box, man. You hear this thing 10 blocks away. My batteries run low, so you barely hear it. See what I'm saying? Our batteries ran low. With low energy. But this guy over here, he got a little thing, a little radio. The battery's fully powered. Hey, he blasting. I got a big boom box. I can't do anything with it. You understand, brothers and sisters? What's going on? But once those batteries get charged again, boom! They're all blown out the way. In fact, you've been around a bit. You can feel it. You can feel the vibrations. So it ain't something that you're just imagining. You can feel the vibrations. You know, deaf people, you know how they what they do is they get a boombox or whatever, and they feel it. So they feel the vibration. They can't hear it, but they can feel it. They can be. All they gotta do is get a couple of things, a hand, little mobile things, whatever, right? That can play music, that vibrate. They can be on a dance floor bombing just like you don't know you don't know they deaf, because they're feeling it. You say something, they want to look at you. Can't you hear, man? They can feel it. You feel me? Well, it's coming in, bro. Putting information out there, and there's not a goddamn thing to do to stop it. You can't stop the stream from coming in. Putting information out there, and the world's causing the world to change. It tells you in Revelation that the world didn't change, so you start breaking those seals, start putting those new vibes out there. Once you put those vibes, the things start changing. So here we go. Winter, spring, summer. We're in the winter season now. We didn't know there was a spring. We had no idea it was a spring. They told us winter is going to be like that forever. America will be like this forever. This is the way it is. So we are freezing. Oh man, we're going to be like this forever. Oh Master, can you give me some wood? Can you give me some food? I'm cold, man. I can't do anything, man. I get a little bit of clothes, just enough to keep you alive, but you're still freezing. So they make sure you got enough to keep you alive, keep working. Some chitlins instead of chitlins, because that's what it was called back then, because that's exactly what it is, chitlin. You know, just enough. So you can't get activated. You can't do anything because you're cold all the time, you're shivering, just enough to keep you alive, but not enough to make you comfortable. You could start thinking about doing anything. And where you going to go? Where you going? You can't fight anyway. If you fight Master, what you going to fight Master for? Because you fight him, then you're in real trouble. Because you need the firewood from him, you need the shitting from him, because you're cold, man, you can't get it yourself. So you beg him, man, oh, thank you, Master. Thank you for the shitting, Master. Thank you for the firewood, Master. Just get you a little bit. Keep from freezing. So you're cold all the time. Oh, thank you for the shirt, Master. You need a damn coat, but you can get a little shirt. You get it? So keep you humble. Because you're going to go in the freeze mode. Because you think it's going to be like that forever. Thank you, Master. See? And then someone come along and say, hey, man, that's spring. Spring, what's that? What is that? Spring is coming. What's that? What, spring? Now you got hope. If you have faith in it, you got hope. And then you start gathering together. So you won't, they didn't get anything master anymore. But now since you come together, because now you got some hope, now you warm each other up a little bit. It's dangerous. Or they gathering together. So they're active now. They ain't as cold as they were before. They're not as dependent as they were before. See, that's what Elijah was doing. We got to shut that shit down. Then Pharaoh come in there. Tell them you ain't going nowhere. They're going to stay here with us. Master's good. Master, I want to stay here. Something wrong with y'all. Why want to go over there somewhere? We're going to go back to Africa. Stay here. You need to straighten yourself up. You out here shivering. That's your problem. You're shivering. Okay? So they took the vision away. We ain't going nowhere. So they vision away. Now you're back in freezing again with nothing. No jobs, nothing. Not working together anymore. You don't have no job. So now you only have the warmth of each other's company anymore. Everybody's against each other. That's what Farrakhan was in setting to do. And the messenger come back and say, hey, no, fool, no, there's a spring there. And he start warming it up. So he bring the vibes of warming it up. He started warming up. Oh, man. I ain't cold as it was before. See? So they gotta stop that. And the more spring come in, the more bothered they become. Because now they start seeing something. Oh, global warming, the signs of spring, they tell you it's bad. Oh, it's warming up. Oh, warming. AI. All the technology and everything. Next day it's going to destroy our capitalism. Missed that one, didn't you? Go destroy capitalism. Capitalism is slavery. You were still in slavery. If your employers, that's just the modern name of slavery. That's all it is. We wasn't that before we came here. Spring's a bad thing. No, spring's a good thing. Going to get rid of capitalism, get rid of Christianity, that justify all this shit. Get rid of, right? Depression, get rid of all, because get rid of them. Because in spring, is any trace of winter there? See, all their powers in the winter. Hail, storms, tornadoes, hailstorms, ice storms, igloos, ice castles. All that stuff is coming to Oprah. She ain't gonna buy nothing by no spring because her power's lost. Now everything's melting. Oh, now they're trying to find, I gotta go take Venezuela, I gotta take Greenland. They're trying to hold on to the winter. And when it gets to the point, now it's getting warm, I'm starting to get sunburned and stuff, man. This is bad stuff, man. We gotta stop this. And then you starting to move around, you ain't so cold no more, and you doing things, oh man, look at these niggas. They rising up. See what I'm saying? And they get more violent. At some point, they say, oh, hey, when they see it's clear, they got to take you out. That's the last effort. Violence. Because you're the reason spring coming in. And to some degree, you're right. Because who's broadcasting those vibes? Where's it coming from? That mistake is not going to work. That's what they're going to do. That's why we saw this violence now. Because you have a clash between the spring coming in and the winter that's trying to maintain itself. That's what you see in the world right now. That's the clash you see. In basic sense, that it is getting hotter every day, isn't it? Oh, wait a minute, it's getting hotter. The world's getting hotter and hotter every day. Is there some kind of wisdom in there? The world's getting hotter and hotter every day. Isn't that what happens when spring comes in? You understand pressure? That means more collision, more pressure, more war. So that war is getting better for us, but it's been dramatic for them. It was tearing them apart. Everything melting, all they lose their power and they get more desperate. Go fight harder, harder, harder. Armageddon. And to keep you believing that, trick some of you to trying to help them hold on to the winter. That's our kind of job. Trick you to, remember he said fight, said anybody attack America, we'll fight for America. You know what he said? We love it here. We're gonna fight, but this America belongs to us. The winter belongs to us. You listen to him? He can have you trick you to help you fight against yourself. Fight for the winter when spring is coming in. When spring does come in, is there any traces of winter? You see any ice in there or anything? But we're summer people. We're summer people. Okay? But spring is good for us. We out of that winter, we ain't freezing no more. Now we can move around, we start taking care of business, right? But we really like the summer. The summer's really. So, but spring is a transition between the winter and the summer. So what you need the transition person to rule. Remember? The winter's white. You need the God. Adam was the God that ran, or Satan, if you want to. I'm not going to. I just say Adam, leave it there for that. Really, but actually Satan. But anyway, stay sane. I don't want to get too complicated here. I'm going to keep it simple. But there was a God. Well, okay, let's go. Satan. But Satan is Adam's God. So Satan ruled here. He's the God of winter. So who's the God as well? They tell you who's God as well is. He's the God. You understand? He's the God of winter. But Muhammad said that the original God, right? Let me say a couple things. Elijah Muhammad said that the Messiah self-taught. Is that what he said? Was Elijah self-taught? No. Abraham self-taught? No. Was Master Muhammad self-taught? No. He says Father taught him. But the lamb that broke the seals, he was self-taught because nobody could teach him how to do it. He did it himself. I'll leave you with that one. So the thing is that it said, because of the energy deficit that I was telling you about deprivation, it'd be no 6,000 years before we actually take control of everything. So we have a transition. The spring is not favored, but we still have enough energy to take control. So you need someone that's a transitional figure to be the God. Right? Somebody that's half winter and half summer. That's transition. There you go, Master from Mom is the God. The spring. Come on, brothers and sisters. There you go. Here's winter. You got Master coming. Bringing it up. And the vibes out there. Frequency, high wavelength. Warm up that summer. Warm up that winter. Spring coming in, bring the spring in. Remember, he's bringing the spring in. The vibrations go to a high level, overcoming their vibrations, destroying theirs. High pressure overcomes low pressure. And spring comes in. And he's with Master Muhammad, two together. Master Muhammad's ruling. But he's called the high priest. That's why you see, if you understand Angel Key, that's why he said he's a son. They still refer to him as a son. That's putting those vibrations out there. And that vibration is higher level because the objective is get to summer. But Master Muhammad is ruling. The transition team. With the Shia, the transition team. And then boom, now we get. Summer comes, there ain't traces of winter anywhere. And then another thing to look at, we're talking seasons. I'm going to go more into seasons now. Another thing to look at is 6,000 year period. He's seen 6,000 years. It's probably 6,000. They say 6,000 was the prophet 6,000 years. They say 6,000 years, they're trying to send a message to you. So 6,000 years, it took us 6,000 years to get down to nothing. We just 6,000 years descending into nothing. That's what we were in the 1860s. We descended down to nothing, totally broken, power broken. But it took 6,000 years to descend, it takes 6,000 years to ascend out of it. So this Adam brood here, the Adam we're dealing with the last 5 years. But Yaku's creation, well, he's a descendant of it, right? Well, 6,000 years. According to our descension, excuse me. And now it's going to take 6,000 years to send back out. And this is that's Muhammad's rule. Transition team. And then finally we get back to where we were. So Adam really had 12,000 years. We couldn't let him rule for another 6,000 years. It was just too wicked. So we give it over to Master Muhammad. It's faithful and true. Okay? He's our brother. He's half original. Half spring, half summer. Half winter, half summer. Now, here it is, the Quran tells you. It will be momentous in heaven and earth, not coming but of a sudden. And the apps can't tell you what that means. The students can't tell you what it means. And Farrakhan can't tell you either. The universe contracts. And it's coming back now. It started to come back in the 1860s. It come back in waves. About every 50 years, and we can prove it. About every 50 years, we get an energy wave. That's what it's talking about. Mention heaven, earth, it comes from the heavens, enters the earth. Earth converts its form that we can use. And then we get the food and all other stuff that Earth produces. How do you think the Earth produces? It's got to have energy to produce. But it hasn't produced that much for the last 35,000 years. Why? Because the energy was going out. So the Earth started turning to deserts, polar caps, everything else, because there wasn't enough energy to produce that much. So now it's reversing global warming or global energizing. That's what it is. But no, it is bad for them. Okay. So here's the groups here, right? I'm going to do this different way than I actually set it up. But you see, it's 4 cycles here. Let me give you the general, then we'll go more specific. So every probably 50 years, right? Okay, 1860s is when we broke the so-called Civil War and everything. But see, we actually forced that. But they tell, oh, they did that because they wanted to free us and all that kind of bullshit. But anyway, when you go check when the blues came out, remember, it was all under that kind of bullshit. That's all. Yeah, so-called African music, but none of that here. Only thing you had here was that, you know, and the banjo stuff. I went downtown and Mary went around and boy, it was on the ground. And, you know, that stupid shit, right? That was it. But then our music, the blues, came out 1860s. Go check it out. Because we start rising now. We start warming up. That's our first energy wave. That's how we broke the chains. It's our energy waves that caused us to break the chains. Not them. It was hard to hold us down now. Because we got more energized. It's hard to hold it down. More energized we come. So we start, and our emotions dominate the universe. Our emotions dominate, our emotions is a atmospheric thing. And we dominate it. We didn't know it, but we dominate it. Because the atmosphere, right? Where's music? It's like putting seasoning on meat. It's seasoning the atmosphere. It's like you got water, you put sugar and stuff in it to make it sweet. Well, you make the atmosphere beautiful. That's music. And our music is the most powerful on the planet. And music affects your emotions. So what happened is, what state we were in, we had the blues, but we didn't know what the hell to do. We had nothing. We're so far out there, all of a sudden we weren't on the plantation anymore. Plantation, remember you used to call it plants. Blues. Is that a coincidence? Blues. But we had another problem because for 400 years, they was raping our women, producing their demon children, their skin folk children. They was mixed together. One of them, you saw that movie Django. He probably was. That guy, the Macchio, whatever his name was, that probably his brother. Probably his brother. Because he acted like them. He acted like he was comfortable with them. He hated black people because he's really devil in black skin. So we had that problem of half and half. Right? So once we got out of there, then the two natures start going through different directions. Because some said, let's get away from these devils. Went to the city. Others said, man, we want to stay here on the sharecropper. We want to stay here with Master. We love Master. Why do they want to stay there with him? Because they Master. Just like the house niggers who was in the field. They loved being in the house. And Master, see, what they don't tell you is watch that movie closely and check the ones in the house with their children. The ones they let work in the house was their black-faced children. They know they could trust them. There wasn't any way to put you in the house. That's the blues. And then what happened 50 years later? Approximately 50 years later. They'll say exactly 50. 50 years later, what? Now we start Noble Drew Ali, Marcus Garvey. So I learn about Africa and different things like that, right? Going energized. Jazz. It's got jazzy. Is that a coincidence? Remember, whose music has ruled the planet? Is it Ching Chong? Dooby Dooby? Or is it our music? What's rocking the planet now? I googled the other day. I said, what's the most dominant music on the planet? And they said, I think it said rap. On the planet. They might want you in China, but they jam into, what's his name? Prince and whatever. Or they love Michael over there. Are you jamming their music? You jam if it's a rip off of ours. There was Japanese girls, they do it singing, they're good at it, but they singing our music. Elvis did. 50 years later. And then had a different attitude. Those Afrocentric, Eurocentric. Yeah, the boys and I said, we should be more like white people. You had to pass the brown paper test. NAACP. Hey, Elijah. No, I meant to get the hell out of here. Masra Muhammad, Marcus Garvey. Two different attitudes, because two different people. They might look alike. Black is just a generic term. And then what? 1860s? What's 50 years ago? That's another 100 years, right? 100 years after that, what? 1960s, what happened? Motown sound. Our sound came from us, a new sound, and we had a new attitude. Black, we ain't niggers, no, see, in jazz time, we became Negroes before they said we were niggers. Jazz time we became Negroes and colored people. Am I wrong? Check history. But then when 50 years later again, hey, I'm black and I'm proud. I'm in America, I'm a soul brother. No more colored people, no more Negro stuff anymore. No more cockling. I got an afro. Is that a coincidence? Every 50 years? And he had two separate, again, right? One want to get the hell out of here. One want to integrate. Integration. Elijah Muhammad and Martin Luther King. See? Because you got two different people. One wants to be close to Master. Like Farrakhan, I want to stay here. I want to fight with Master. Because he's one of them. He said, we got proof this follows the devil. Just Google it. Percival Clark. They show you a picture of him. There it is again. And where we are right now is we're on a 50-year mark again. And you see something stirring. Something stirring, ain't it? And so the devil's getting, and each one of these were accompanied by some kind of conflict. Civil War on the first one, the blues. I'm going to show you in a minute, right? There was this thing called, I think it was the Red Summer or whatever. They started burning down all black cities and everything that was trying to build up. Then what? Civil rights movements. Now, the final one, when we actually leave, demons stay, and they're going to be a more dramatic attack to try to stop us. This is facts, brothers and sisters. Go check it out. 1860, 87, and New Age came in, Industrial Age. See, we born in Industrial Age, but that's no story. I'm not going to get into it here, brothers and sisters, but the point is, they need you in the fields anymore. New Age. They're the cotton and everything else. They don't tell you, so that idea is we the creative force in America. They won't tell you that. Just to make it simple for you, if possible. Right? You got Germany, you got Russia, all those are almost all Caucasian countries, right? How come no innovation come out of there? I've never been anything. They make good cars and good stuff that comes out. They can duplicate it, but they haven't come with any. All the ideas come from here. So what's special about these Caucasians that they come all these ideas out of America, and they got all these Caucasian countries, almost all Caucasian, and they don't come with them because we're here. That's why I said we're the gold and the silver in Egypt. That's why Pharaoh didn't want to let you go. Because if you leave, they go back to the cave, man, because they don't have any ideas. We have it. And they strip them off. So we kept Dutch slaves. That guy's out of the fields. They ain't need you in the fields anymore. They need you in the fields anymore. See? We broke that, not them. And one want to stay with Master, one want to leave Master. That's the demons and the saints. Demons are chaff and the wheat. This is there, you Google it. The main cause of the American Civil War, the main cause of the American Civil War were conflict over slavery. The main cause of the American Civil War were the conflict over slavery, disagreements on state rights versus federal power, economic difference between industrial. Yeah, somebody change this. The main cause of the American Civil War were the conflict over slavery, disagreement over states' rights versus federal power, economic differences between industrial North and agrarian South, and sectionalism. The expansion of slavery into Western territories, election of Abraham Lincoln 1860s, and cultural disparities between the regions, all high tensions, and ultimately led to the secession of southern states, outbreak of the war in 1861. What they're telling you was, it wasn't primarily because, right? Freeing us. Let's go on. Let's read the next one. Okay. The cause of the Civil War is caused to a young nation, more from West about the cause of the Civil War. What led to the outbreak of the bloodiest conflict in the history of North America? A common explanation is that the Civil War was fought over the moral issue of slavery. That's what it said. A common explanation is that, these are devils talking, is that the Civil War was fought over the moral issue of slavery. In fact, it was not. It was economics of slavery and political control of that system that was central to the conflict. It wasn't about moral. It's about economic. What was the economics of slavery? What they talk about is so-called industrial. They start having plants. They didn't have plants before. Factories. They call them plants back there, but you might pick up on that. Plantation. Because you might realize, hey, man, I'm still a slave. I'm just an economic slave. I'm just an industrial slave. What would slavery look like in the Industrial Revolution? So they changed from plants to factories. What they're saying is that they needed fields anymore, but he still had you, still owned you. So the North was building plants. And so slave masters would take you up there and say, hey, say for instance, the devils wanted $10 a day, $10 a dollar fee. Say they wanted, $10, say they wanted, well, it was really cheap. Say they want $3 an hour, or $5 an hour. Say they want $5 an hour to work. The slave master, well, I'll give you 5 slaves for that. You're going to give them $1 an hour. They don't give you no trouble. Do everything you tell them to do. They ain't gonna rest. I get fired, man, and they don't give me no trouble. They can work their ass off. But one of you, that was the problem. That was the problem. That's why the North went to war. They try to stop the South from doing it. They said, okay, if you only do it in the Western, in the Eastern states, don't move it in the Western states. We do what we want to do. States' rights. That's what it says there. That's why they went to war. They said we can't compete against slave labor. Can't compete against the niggas because we ain't gonna work for no $1 an hour. And you can get 5 of them gonna work harder than us for $5 an hour. That's what the war for. And as soon as the war was over, you get 40 acres of mule, you got none of that. They immediately started setting unions, apprenticeships. What's the other thing? Apprenticeships. I forget the other thing. Unions, apprenticeships. Anyway, so I said to set them up to keep you out from those jobs. You can read that to your lazy brothers and sisters. Yeah, that was 1860s, right? And the Emancipation Proclamation, you better check it out, because Lincoln said he didn't mean to free us. We wasn't as equal, but they was losing the war. They told him, says, if you promise niggas your freedom, Emancipation Proclamation, they'll help fight this war. And that's what they did. And so they got the black help fight. That's how they was able to defeat the South. And then did you get the 40 acres of mule? In fact, this is a bad picture here, but all the black troops they put in the concentration camps starving to death. Go check it out. They said, man, these are dangerous. We can't let them free out here. They're soldiers, and they're good soldiers, and they're armed and stuff. We got to get rid of them. March them off to. That's divided. Sharecroppers, they would stay with Master. Why would you want to stay with Master? They stay down there. They was in the same condition they was before. They stayed down there in open servitude. Permissive. They could have walked on. They decided to stay there in the state. They was in the same state they was in before, on the farm, under master. They decided to stay. Others got to as far as they could, the city, some went to Canada. They found out about Canada. Frederick Douglass, that's another unknown figure during that time. Then 50 years later, probably 50 years later, electronics lady, another electronics lady. Electricity and stuff like that, right? That's where electronics come from, electricity. 50 years later, what happened then? Jazz. Now you start getting more energized. Jazz. You start feeling jazzy. Start thinking about learning about Africa and stuff because you had no education before. Couldn't read or write anything. Now, Noble Drew Ali, Marcus Garvey, Mustafa Muhammad. They need you for manual labor. Anymore. Now to add Eurocentric, be more like white folks. No, we want to be like black people. That was the idea. Yeah, Elijah Muhammad, and Marcus Garvey, and was thinking African, thinking back towards Africa. That's when they set up Liberia. Look at Liberia. That's when they set up Liberia. It says as many blacks they could. In Africa, they set up a place in Africa called Liberia. They were going to send everybody, but Lincoln said we can't afford it. They were sending all blacks to Liberia. So they have to go get rid of them. He said we can't afford it. It's too much money. So as many, they said, I don't know how many, they sent a lot of blacks out here to Liberia. That's pretty much just an American city because they use American money, had American flag, everything. That's no story together. They still got the devil's mind, right? And then you got Eurocentric. Hey, man, we're going to be African. Do you know the so-called NAACP? I shouldn't even speak to this. I'm pretty sure it's a case, though. But it was really set up by what people call some Jews. They was actually in charge of it initially. That's no story. Anyway, but the whole idea was to think Eurocentric, think to be like more like white people, talk like white people, dress like white people. And then, well, because they was white people and black skin folk. See, that's why you got the two different. That's why you got all this stuff going on right now. It's crime and all stuff. That's the demons doing that stuff. They didn't want to do that stuff, but they mixed in with us, so we get the hit for it. That's the Red Summer that I was talking about. An outbreak of racial violence known as the Red Summer occurred in 1990, an event that affected at least 26 cities across the United States. Don't even tell you about that. Because every time we made a step up, we got resistance. That was killing black folks all across the country. Every time we moved up, we got resistance. And same thing 50 years later, the so-called civil rights, where it's sick and dog stuff, everything on you. Vietnam, that's part of it, but you don't realize that. That's no story. The connection between Vietnam and our situation. See, and ACP during that time. Here on this side here, this is Marcus Garvey's people. Thinking like an army, get the hell out of here. NCP, see white folks and everything in here. Colored people. You call you niggas anymore, you colored people. I'm not covering this up. Move myself out of the way. Yes. Jazz. Okay. Red Summer. Here. Here's Marcus Garvey. I think this is Du Bois here, NCP. These are black folks. Hey, man, heck with that. You know what happened to Marcus Garvey, right? Threw his ass in jail over in Britain and he died in jail, in prison. He didn't do anything wrong. He did wrong. He was inspiring black people. And 50 years later, computer age. Remember, it's a different age. Industrial age, electronic age, now computer age. See? Approximately every 50 years, it's staring at soul. Soul rock. Right? What do you call it? A disco. You need for so they send your jobs to China and bring Indians and start bringing them in. I went to the program, I know about it, so I'm not going into detail here, brothers and sisters. Right? Computer age. Then you got two. Oh, remember before you had sharecropper city, they had Eurocentric, now you got integrated separation. We want to live next door to you. We want to marry your daughter. We say, good, we don't want nothing to have to do with you devils. We don't want nothing to do with you. Get separate. That's what happens. Am I mistaken here? Martin Luther King, Elijah Muhammad. Farrakhan was integration. Think about it. Listen to him. Riots all across America. You raise at your leisure. Civil unrest, 96 stemmed from deep-seated racism, economic inequality, discrimination, leading to widespread protests and whatever. So you can raise at your leisure, brothers and sisters. Here you go. Here they marching. Here's Elijah and Martin Luther King setting together. People don't realize the picture was taken. Yes, they was right together. Different ideas. Here's Ali. Right? He's moving towards Elijah. Here's the ACP. The whites, those together. All blacks on the side. You see, big separation in attitudes. Because you got two different types of people. Just because they're black, they ain't the same. And now, we're at the 50-year mark. That means a new museum's about to come in. It's going to victory. Because now, remember, we got further and further apart. We start out here. First house niggas, Hill. Okay, sharecropper city. Eurocentric, Afrocentric. Integrated separation. Now we're gone. They stay here. That's what's about to happen, brothers and sisters. It's here. By the end of next year, we'll be back home. And demons will be here fighting. 2020s, 2030s, AI age, new age. They lose control of it, like Los Angeles control of it. But this age here, right? Think they don't need you. They think they don't need you anymore. Or anything anymore. Another reason to get rid of you. Because that's what they're worried about. What are we going to do with these niggas? We don't need them anymore for anything. We don't need anybody at Burger King anymore. We got robots that could do that. We don't need them there for that anymore. We don't need anything. What are we going to do with them? You're in danger, brothers and sisters. They're about to attack you. In fact, that's why they put these troops around the states. They call it, because of immigration. Really? You think so? You believe that? This is real. You heard test tube babies? Yeah, they can produce, take an egg fertilizer and test tube babies. And now they're saying they can put a test tube inside of a robot. So they can take the sperm from the man and the egg from the woman, put it together. She ain't got to carry that baby no more. That robot carry for her. That's real. This is real. Battle for the NOI. Remember, going total separation. Farrakhan's job to make sure you don't separate. The last chance they got to keep us from separating, keep us under control here. Aaron, That's what's going on there. He's for them. He not teach Elijah Muhammad's teachings. He want to protect America. He love America. He said it. We got him on tape saying it. He don't want to see nothing happen to America. So he's taking control of NOI. His whole job is to keep us blind and here. Stay apart. Stay apart. That's the battle. Battle for your minds. Read Mark. Legion, Louis Eugene Grounds, NOI backwards, had control of the NOI. Then when Messenger Cover came, man, what are you doing, man? You messed my thing up. Stop tormenting me. Because he broke his control over them. Gave them their mind back, freedom. Okay, I think that's it, bosses. Yeah. I think I covered everything there for today. Birth of the Nation tomorrow. And work it out, okay. Seasons, brothers and sisters, I just showed you. It's with the 3 seasons. We're about to go to the next one. Remember, each one of the seasons came in like that. Suddenly, I was there, Motown came out like, it was one day it was there, one day it wasn't. One day it wasn't, one day it was. Came out like, bomb, boom. All of a sudden, Motown sound before you had, what's his name? I can't think of what people's names, right? They're singing Nat King Cole and stuff like that. And then you know, man, you got Temptations, Motown, you got Whitney came a little long later, right? Shaka Khan. Right? James Brown, say it loud, I'm black and I'm proud. All of a sudden, bam, this came out of nowhere. Motown sound. Gary Gordy. Is that right? Same thing, jazz. Jazz came out of nowhere. And dominates. Is there any other music on the planet? I tell you, it revs our emotions. So emotions get totally free, so it's going to be a victory. The new music comes out, it's going to be a victory music. It's going to be powerful. Wasn't Motown sound more powerful than jazz? People still listen to jazz, but they listen to rap, all that stuff now, all over the planet. So who's ruling the planet? We just don't know it. He tells we are the gods. We just don't know it. We sleep. We're ruling the planet with our emotions right now. Our emotions ruling the planet. They rock to Bach. They rock to Beethoven. They rock to our music. Period. It reflects our emotions. And our emotions get more, right? It's getting more powerful. Say it loud, I'm black and I'm proud. Fuck y'all, I'm talking about kid, I'm black and I'm proud of it. Damn. Woo! That shook them up. Them niggas proud of being black. We're supposed to be ashamed of being black. That's what they taught us for 400 years. How in the hell they get proud of being, they're proud of being black? That means they don't want to be white. They tell us to fuck us. They're proud of being black men. They're going to come after us next. But before they was proud, they want to be white. Cockling, processing, straighten the hair, lipstick, all that stuff. Why do they call it makeup? Why do they call it makeup? Rich women don't need any. It's white folks make up what they don't have. They call it makeup. Then they're proud of being black. So if you're proud of being black, that means you don't want to be white. They ain't afraid of us no more. They don't want to be like us no more. They'll be called Nancy Knickerbocker. I'm gonna call Chaka Khan. Assalamu alaikum. Say it loud. I'm black and I'm proud. this little side, when I was in Germany, I was in the military. I didn't know about all this. I knew I would never went there. But I got transferred to Heidelberg. Long story. When that song came out, I was always militant because everybody kept asking me because I'm Muslim. Are you a Muslim? And I didn't know what a Muslim was. They kept asking. I didn't know why they was asking all the time because I was always kicking white folks' ass, right? I didn't take no shit from none of them. I'm from Newark, right? I represented. So when that song came out, they trained me in Heidelberg. And Heidelberg was where all the rich kids went, white folks and everything else. I had to take extra year in the Army to go there because I was trying to get the computers, right? They said, if you want to do that, you got to take an extra year. So I got transferred there. And that's when I came out. I bought me the biggest record player I could find. Like I had, it was like, they call it billets. I think it was only black person in this particular one. Like maybe 100 dancers in this one was, I played that thing. Oh boy, I know white folks didn't understand because I wouldn't have, you weren't supposed to do that back then. You were supposed to be afraid you was black. You were supposed to be hated. I'm proud, man. I should play. That day I know one day I come into the office and they say, hey, they call me Lee at the time. Hey, Lee, what? Congratulations, what? You got orders to go to Vietnam, so I got rid of my Vietnam. They had to get rid of my ass, boy. Right? Because I didn't, and I told the officer, see, I would never sprayed anybody. My father was hardcore. He passed when I was 14, but he made a man out of me because just me and my sister, we had no family. My mother had passed already 5 years earlier. And he was hot, Louisiana man. Right? And, that's another story behind that. But and so I was never afraid. Plus, Newark, brothers Newark, I don't know about Red Spots, it was pretty, it's pretty cool, right? And so, so I always stood for myself. That's why people probably asked me, was I Muslim or something, right? I didn't know that was about. It's no story, I'm not going into detail. The thing is I went to the captain, he was in charge of the thing. I told my sister to point up. I said, look, at the time I was a E4, which was like a corporal. And I told my sheriff, I said, look, okay, I know why y'all sending me. I told him straight up, I'm already sent because you don't want me here. I said, I'm not going to Vietnam as a corporal. If I don't go as a sergeant, I ain't going because I'm going shoveling shit and stuff. I'm going to have some control over my situation. I told him straight up. I said, I'm not going to show up unless I'm a sergeant. So now I went home because you had a 2-week leave or something like that, right? I had to report to the fort up in Washington State. And sure enough, Christmas Day, man, Christmas Eve, up in the middle, and sergeant stripes. I was serious. I wasn't going nowhere. Right? That's no story. Anyway, something like
We have a lot of that going on, but we're taking care of our farmers. We can't let our farmers not have anybody. These are these people that you can't replace them very easily. People that live in the inner city are not doing that work. They're just not doing that work. And they've tried, we've tried, everybody tried. They don't do it. These people do it naturally. I said, what happens if they get it to a farmer the other day? What happens if they get a bad back? He said, they don't get a bad back, sir, because if they get a bad back, they die. I said, that's interesting, isn't it?
Well, you heard that. Donald Trump is a believer in eugenics. He believes that white people are the superior race. And inner city is code for black people. And he believes black people cannot now work on the farms. I guess they're not good enough for that. So Hispanic people can do it because they have the backs for it. This is what this man is saying out loud in interviews. He is a racist. It's been proven time and time again. The man had Mein Kampf on his bedside table that he would read at night. Enough to let you know where he stands on that. Just more outrageous, racist things from Donald Trump. They want to arrest those who can do the farm work, well, until their backs give out. And then he'll probably ship them to El Salvador or some other country. Just more vile statements from the president and let you know where he stands.
When they were arresting people for praying outside of abortion clinics. I mean, I do think the UK, and I say this as, you know, someone who is half English, I think it's like reached, or it is quickly reaching a point where democratic reforms are going to be pretty tough because of the demographic change. And that, of course, the point of importing all these people is to overwhelm the people who live there who disapprove of the program. So you don't have to care what they think because you just bring in new people and their will becomes like all that matters. And so I don't think you're going to fix these things through elections at some point, probably pretty soon. And I just worry a place like the UK, Canada is another, a bunch of different countries in the West are at the point where they're literally revolutionary. They are poised for revolution. And as someone who really doesn't support revolution and hates violence and hates civil war above all, I'm worried about that. I mean, I don't see how this is fixed. Starmer, who's, you know, he's just an instrument of larger forces, but he's a poisonous character, obviously, who's really hurt your country. He's in there for, 4 more years? And so you wonder, like, people are going to start to get really radical in a scary way. Like, I think this is going to happen. And the people in charge don't seem to care.
Well, you're already seeing it. You are seeing the anger beginning to manifest itself, and I completely understand the anger. I don't, like you, I abhor any form of violence, but I do understand the anger when you have, you know, Keir Starmer campaigned on, I'm going to smash the gangs that allow these little boats to come over the channel, delivering tens of thousands of people illegally into the country, and they then get put into these so-called asylum hotels where they're given a pretty good lifestyle, certainly a far better lifestyle than many people really struggling at the moment in the UK. And of course, far from smashing the gangs, it turned out yesterday that he's smashing new records for the number of people coming in illegally on the boats. Of course. It's out of control. And the British public are reaching a point of saying, we are done with people coming in illegally and being treated better in a more comfortable and more luxurious manner than we treat our own people.
Well, the whole point is to humiliate and degrade the indigenous population of the British Isles, the white population. I mean, that's the whole point. And are they really going to do something about it? What would that be exactly?
Are reaching a point of saying, we are done with people coming in illegally and being treated better in a more comfortable and more luxurious manner than we treat our own people.
Well, the whole point is to humiliate and degrade the indigenous population of the British Isles, the white population. I mean, that's the whole point. And are they really going to do something about it? What would that be exactly? You'd really have to force a lot of people to go back to their countries of origin, millions of people, and you need to do it really soon. And are they actually willing to do that? I don't know, but these are existential questions that we have been browbeat into ignoring for decades. But the question is, like, is Ireland Ireland? If it's majority non-Irish, oh, shut up, they're Irish. No, they're actually not Irish. Same with the UK, same with England, Scotland, Wales. Like, it's all changing so fast. Nothing like this has ever happened in all of history, except when, say, the Mongols swept across the steppe and raped everybody. Like, that was true demographic change on this scale. But even that wasn't as profound as what we're seeing in every white country around the world. I would say the West, but Australia and New Zealand also. So, like, what is that? Now, my brain is not big enough to understand what that is. I have a lot of theories about it, but I don't know if they're true. All I know is what the numbers are, and that's real, and no one feels that he can say it. Everyone's like, oh, well, if that were happening in China or India or Malaysia or Senegal, it doesn't matter. You'd be like, what the hell is that? Like, the population's totally different. Look at graduation. Pick, I don't know, King's College Law School, and look at the graduation picture for the last 30 years. Who's in it? Just like, let your eyes tell you the truth for once. Like, this is a total change in population. Is it better? Is it worse? Can't have that conversation. Who's pushing this? Does the population want it? The population clearly doesn't want it. There's no polling that's meaningful on the subject. I mean, there's no referendum on it. You don't get to decide. You've got no voice in it, other than you get to go to jail if you complain loudly enough about it. What is this? I think it's the biggest and darkest thing that has happened in the last 1,000 years, for sure. And I think it's leading somewhere really, really bad. It's not happening by accident, that's obvious, because it's only happening in white countries.
I mean, I think that...
Oh, shut up, white supremacist. Well, in fact, I'm not a white supremacist.
Well,
I'm just noticing what the hell's going on.
I think most people I've spoken to about this in the UK, most people have always viewed the UK to be a very tolerant, multicultural, cosmopolitan place to live. That's why so many people want to come here. And people have no problem with that. And it's been very successful for a long period of time.
But it's multicultural? What does that mean?
We have a lot of different people from different countries, different cultures, and it's always worked historically.
So is Sharia law in a multicultural country, is Sharia law... What does that mean?
We have a lot of different people from different countries, different cultures, and it's always worked historically.
So is Sharia law in a multicultural country, is Sharia law every bit as valid as English common?
No, people don't want Sharia law here. No.
A lot of people do. Wait, hold on. I don't know what you mean. Multiculturalism itself is a lie designed to subvert a society. No, a society has a culture. You can argue about what it is or ought to be. It's not necessarily the same as race. It's connected to race, but it's not the same. People from different races can buy into your culture. That was kind of the beauty of the West. But a multicultural society is not sustainable. There's never been such a thing.
Your society is
one culture will dominate.
Hang on, Tucker. Surely the United States of America, given the very way it was created, is the epitome of a multicultural society. And my point I was going to make to you was...
It's absolutely not. No. It's a multiracial society.
Yeah.
Though it was not actually a multiracial society up until pretty recent. It was just like 90% white for most of its existence, but whatever. But you did have different peoples, you had different religions. That was all totally fine, but there was one culture, as American culture. There's no such thing as a multicultural society. It's not sustainable. One culture will overwhelm the other. Again, it's not the same as race. It's not identical to race. It's connected, but it's not the same. But multiculturalism is by definition insane. No, it's never happened. It never will happen. One culture will predominate. It will impose its values on everybody else. I mean, the gay thing, which was not a thing 40 years ago, gay was a slur, all of a sudden becomes multiculture there. There's one culture, and it's required. And that's true in every society, because a culture is a commonly agreed upon set of values, which in their firmest form are called laws.
But those values can evolve.
This is true everywhere all the time.
Those values can evolve.
Of course they evolve, but there's only one set of them. It's not multicultural. There's one set. You worship one God in every society. Sorry.
But your country's values were established by the United States Constitution, and that's had, 26, 27 amendments? Right. So your own values, as determined by the founding fathers, they have evolved and been changed to accommodate changing time.
There's no doubt. Look, I'm not even arguing against change. That's natural. It's natural that people's views evolve.
So the culture changes.
Once you start rejecting the laws of nature, then you're doomed. But let me just say, no, of course, societies change. I get it. All I'm saying, I'm making a very discrete, specific point, which is multicultural multiculturalism as an idea is laughably stupid. It has never worked. We never had it anywhere, and it never will exist because it's contrary to human nature. One culture, one way of looking at things, one worldview will predominate, and it will punish all who deviate from it. That is the nature of societies. So if you're telling me it's
determined by the founding fathers, they have evolved and been changed to accommodate changing time.
There's no doubt. Look, I'm not even arguing against change. That's natural. It's natural that people's views evolve.
So those values can evolve.
There's one culture, and it's required. And that's true in every society because a culture is a commonly agreed upon set of values, which in their firmest form are called laws.
But those values can evolve.
This is true everywhere.
But those values can evolve.
Of course they evolve, but there's only one set of them. It's not multicultural. There's one set. You worship one God in every society. Sorry.
Your country's values were established by the United States Constitution, and that's had, 26, 27 amendments, right? So your own values, as determined by the founding fathers, they have evolved and been changed to accommodate changing time.
There's no doubt. Look, I'm not even arguing against change. Natural that people's views evolve.
So the culture changes.
Once you start rejecting the laws of nature, then you're doomed. But let me just say, no, of course, societies change. I get it. All I'm saying, I'm making a very discrete, specific point, which is multiculturalism as an idea is laughably stupid. It has never worked. We never had it anywhere, and it never will exist because it's contrary to human nature. One culture, one way of looking at things, one worldview will predominate, and it will punish all who deviate from it. That is the nature of societies. So if you're telling me it's multicultural, we can all live and have radically different values, that's just not true. It's never been true. It never will be true. So you're having one culture, one worldview predominate over another and dominate and suppress all dissent. That's just what it is, dude.
But
let's be honest.
I would point to the United States of America and the United Kingdom as two shining examples, albeit not completely without their flaws, but shining examples of places that are deemed by the rest of certainly feel that about my country.
Well, I certainly think that inherent in Christianity is the notion of tolerance, and that draws from a core Christian concept, which is free will. You cannot force someone to convert. There's never been conversion by the sword in Christianity. People decide to believe in it. And so that is central to the religion, therefore it's been central to the society. Western civilization is Christian civilization. And so we call that tolerance. It's a respect for your inherent God-given right to make a choice about what you believe. Okay, so of course, that's always been a feature. My only point is, a society has a commonly agreed upon set of beliefs, rules, and laws that are the definition of the society itself. That's what a society is. So you can't have competing. You can't have, gay world and Sharia world living co-equally in a society. That does not happen. It will never happen. You have to pick one. Are we the Sharia society? Are we the party time gay rights society? Which one? And you can't face that reality. So you're just sort of snoozing along until the inevitable point where you're going to wake up and be like, my values have no bearing on what our society is anymore because we've been invaded by other people with a totally different worldview, and they're now in charge. And that day is coming very soon for your country, and maybe it'll improve it. I don't think the UK could be a lot worse than it already is. It's this kind of disgusting, sad, self-hating, suicidal island that was once great. It kills me to see it as a half English person, but that day is coming. It will change. You will either decide to be Western or Eastern. That's a choice that we're all going to face. I don't want to face that choice, but it's being foisted upon us by the architect. That's a choice that we're all going to face. Suicidal island that was once great. It kills me to see it as a half English. That day is coming. It will change. You will either decide to be Western or Eastern. That's a choice that we're all going to face. I don't want to face that choice, but it's being foisted upon us by the architects of mass migration. Sorry.
I would question your characterization as my country as a sad, disgusting, what's the rest of it, suicidal nation. I feel none of those things. I feel very happy to be in the United Kingdom, and I feel that there are lots of very happy
Our system, the Western system, which is very distinct from the Eastern system, very distinct, and it's distinct on this one precise point, we believe and have always believed since this country was founded, since your country became, not a pure monarchy, but even when it was a pure monarchy, the belief in the West, because of Christianity, was the worst thing you can do is punish the innocent. That's the worst thing you can do. That's worse than not punishing the guilty. And we often said that to each other. We no longer say that because there is a pretty concerted effort to blur the meaning of these terms. But I'm not going to be deterred from defining words precisely. Terror is murdering people, killing people, punishing people who committed no crime. Period.
So when the Israeli government says it has repeatedly that even though over 20,000 completely innocent children are believed to have died in their response to what Hamas did on October the 7th at the hands of the IDF, there are many on the pro-Palestinian side who say that Israel is behaving like terrorists too in the way that they have gone about conducting this war. Would you go as far as to say that?
One of the things that I really object to now is this relentless focus on Israel, which, by the way, is a foreign country that I have nothing to do with.
We've done this before. Now, maybe today things are different, and we will end up living in a nation that is sharply divided and may ultimately produce something else. But I'm an American. I love my country. I want to see it stay together. I'm interested in social cohesion, which means that I think our laws, customs, and culture have to be dominant. We can accept some diversity on the edges, but not fundamental division. I think we're in a state of fundamental division. So when I bring up Sharia law, I've sat in many discussions with many people that said, well, I don't care what people look like, but I do care about Sharia law, and I don't want that practiced anywhere near my family or in my country. And that's something you should be aware of. So the notion that someone can come here and say, well, that's part of my religion and we're going to abide by Sharia law, they're going to find serious resistance and opposition in the country.
And as I clarified,
It's because it matters. It's this thing we call societal cohesion. Nations do not exist on their own. They have a core population. Our core population from the very beginning was always at least 80% European and Christian and about 15 to 20% African. But when you start bringing in huge numbers, millions, who are fundamentally different from the core population, you are going to get violence, anger, and conflict. How many times have you heard people say, if you bring people in from the developing world, what do you get? The developing world. And now we've got that. You can't bring in hundreds of thousands of people from Somalia, plant them, of all places, in Minnesota, and then be shocked that, no, they're not Americans. They're not really interested in being Americans. They're foreigners living on American soil. Nobody wants to say that publicly. If you do, oh, well, you're a racist. Well, you know, the world is full of racists. The real war that's going to decide our fate is not going to be fought anywhere overseas. It's going to be fought right here inside the United States. Are we going to survive as a republic, as an English-speaking republic that rests on the foundations of Western civilization? Or are we going to become something else?
One point that is
Constitution was completed in 1789. I think we had 5 million people living in the 13 British colonies. We were 90% white, that is excluding the Africans who were in the country who had been brought here as slaves. But we were 90% white. We were 90% Protestant. And this may be hard for you to believe, but the people that wrote that were trying to protect all of the Protestant sects from a state church on the model of the Church of England and the Roman Catholic Church. That's one of the reasons it was almost 100 years or more after that before people began to finally accept Catholicism as a religion, because it was viewed as political power. My point to you is the Constitution is outdated. The way we are governed is outdated. It has to be re-examined. Nobody in 1789 imagined that anybody would come to the United States except another lunatic, religious fanatical Protestant who hated the Church of England. That's what people feared. That's what they thought of. The Constitution that we have does many good things, but I would argue that the Bill of Rights is ultimately more important. The Bill of Rights is vital and essential, and that needs to be defended. But the Constitution and the way we govern and the things that we're doing, it's out of date. It doesn't fit our needs. And that's back to my comment on something given has no value. You have to earn it. And we haven't made anybody earn their place in this country. I'm talking about people like me that have been here forever. My first ancestor stepped off the boat in 1681. So we've got to get back to some notion of national service, because national service promotes national integration. It addresses some of these problems that you're discussing. Now, I know that you may not want to conform and may not want to be as I am, but I'm an American and nobody questions that. Nobody ever will. If you don't want to stand out and be questioned, then I suggest that you change your appearance, because I don't think it's life or death for you to wear what you wear.
I think this conversation.
It's not fine, because it's leading to violence that could have otherwise been avoided. You see, every great nation, every large nation can always accept some number of people into its ranks that are different from them. It's always been the case. But if you suddenly import millions, which is what's happened here and happened in Europe, then you threaten the core gene pool. What I'm trying to tell you is there's a problem. And we can all pretend that there isn't, and you can insist there isn't, but that's the view. And I think it's incumbent upon all of us to address it truthfully and openly. Stop pretending it's not a problem. It's a problem.
I mean, what's also a problem is white supremacy, and that's.
No, because of you're saying you're different, you're going to remain different, and you don't think that if that's not compatible with being an American, then the hell with it. That's what you're going to do.
Well, then what do you make then of, white American people who convert, let's say, to Islam and choose to cover? Are they not American anymore?
Listen, if they want to do that, that's obviously their business. I don't know how many are out there that do that. I think again, it's ill-advised. I think you have to hold the society together. There has to be an agreement on certain things, customs, culture, way of life. And unfortunately, if you're going to practice rigidly a brand of Islam that demands certain things, and this is why I asked right off the bat, do you support Sharia law?
I'm a Muslim. What being a Muslim means is I follow the guidelines of my religion, which is a peaceful. Does your
religion dictate to you Sharia law?
My religion dictates to me to be a good human being, to be good to my neighbors, to
that the most powerful force in today's Republican Party is represented by what Charlie Kirk said. It is this drive to make America a white Christian nation. I got to tell you, this is what they say privately. This is now what they say publicly. This is what Charlie Kirk said publicly.
And Joe, again, one of the reasons I wanted to have you on, because you know these people very, very well. Yeah. You said it yourself. You were one of the strongest voices. You were one of the folks who understood the incendiary language when you were in Congress, when you had your radio show, and how people loved when you did it. And then when you chose to apologize for that and turn away from it, oh my God, they literally have just tried to destroy you because of that.
Yeah, I mean, again, you know the deal, Roland, right? I came out publicly against Trump 7 years. For 7 years, I put up with death threats on a regular basis. Nobody is welcome in that party unless you bow down to what this force is, this MAGA force. And again, look, there have been some people on the left who've celebrated Charlie Kirk's murder. Shame on them, be better people. But this is much worse, Roland, what my former friends are doing on the right, because they are turning this into a holy war. When you say we declare war on the left because of what some 22-year-old young guy did in Utah, and then you declare war on the whole left, that's a lot worse than celebrating Charlie Cook's murder, because that's dishonest, but that's also inciting hate and violence. And Roland, look, Trump's an idiot. So yeah, Trump says the left, the problem in the country is the left. J.D. Vance is not an idiot. What did J.D. Vance say today, right? He was subbing for Charlie Kirk on his radio show, and he spent the entire show going after the left, going after them, they, them. Man, Democrats need to wake up, Roland. This is a really serious deal by my former colleagues. The stuff that I hear privately from them right now, Roland, for the last 5 days, I mean, they want to go to war. This is a holy war.
Oh, it absolutely is. And what really jumps out at me on this very thing here, Joe, and I've been saying this, I played the speech 2 weeks ago that mainstream media just ignored, of Missouri Senator Eric Schmidt, who gave a speech at NatCon, Peter Thiel's group, where he literally gave a white nationalist speech, where he said our ancestors fought for this country to be ours and no one else. He was talking about white people. He was basically saying if you are Black, Latino, Asian American, or even Native American, America is not for you. And folks just ignored it. And so people need to understand, again, what they're saying, why they're saying it. And yes, there are many evangelicals, any very conservative white Christians who are pushing this as well. And you nailed it. They want a holy war. They want a race war. They want this to be a white country. It is clear as day.
And Roland, really important point. Charlie Kirk at only 31, the impact he had because he was one of the most successful pushers of this white Christian nationalistic idea. And so I think that's why all of his defenders are out there so strenuously denying he said anything divisive, because they know if you really go through Charlie Kirk's public record, everything he said about people of color and Black women and Muslims and gays and transgenders, if people took the time to go through all of that, and that was put out for average people to see, they'd be blown away by it. That's why his defenders are like supercharged right now. They don't want that record to be seen.
Today, you mentioned, and I mentioned as well, Vice President J.D. Vance sitting in to do his show. And listen to this man just blatantly lie, Joe. Play it.
I read a story in The Nation magazine about my dear friend Charlie Kirk. Now, The Nation isn't a fringe blog. It's a well-funded, well-respected magazine whose publishing history goes back to the American Civil War. George Soros's Open Society Foundation funds this magazine, as does the Ford Foundation and many other wealthy titans of the American progressive movement. The writer accuses Charlie of saying, and I quote, "Black women do not have brain processing power to be taken seriously." But if you go and watch the clip, the very clip she links to, you realize he never said anything like that. He never uttered those words. He made an argument against affirmative action as a policy. He criticized a specific Supreme Court justice as an individual. He never said anything about black women as a group. He made an argument for judging people of all races and backgrounds by their own individual merits.
Bullshit.
Okay, Joe, this is actually what he said.
No, Roland, that's utter bullshit.
In fact, if we would have said 3 weeks ago, Blake, if we would have said that Joy Reid and Michelle Obama and Sheila Jackson Lee and Ketanji Brown Jackson were affirmative action picks, we would have been called the racist. But now they're coming out and they're saying it for us. They're coming out and they're saying, I'm only here because of affirmative action. Yeah, we know. You do not have the brain processing power to otherwise be taken really seriously. You had to go steal a white person's slot to go be taken somewhat seriously. Play cut 52.
But I rise today as a clear recipient of affirmative action, particularly in higher education. I may have been admitted on affirmative action, both in terms of being a woman and a woman of color.
All right, Joe. He literally said it. Not only that, Vance lied. Soros does not fund the nation. So he sat there and flat out lied.
And Roland, remind me, what's J.D. Vance's job? He's the vice president, and yet he had time today to do a radio show for a former right-wing podcaster. I mean, look what they're not even, Roland, they're not even subtle about it, what this White House is doing. They believe, man, the path to victory is fear, hate, and division. And that's what they're putting out there. That was Charlie Kirk literally going after 4 accomplished black women by saying they didn't have the brain power to get where they got. This is what he believed. And this is what MAGA believes. And that, again, Roland, broken record, that's why Charlie Kirk was so damn successful, why he had such a big audience.
Yeah, and not only that, you take Nick Fuentes, who's to the right of Charlie Kirk. The night of or the day after Kirk was shot and killed, Fuentes had 200,000 people watching him live. And so what you have this fervor. And so when I listen to Trump and Vance and all of these people talk about, how the left, they're indoctrinating. No, and you know this very well, the indoctrination. We've had people who formerly with Turning Point USA put out videos talking about how it was really this cult-like figure, this messianic figure, as they sort of set Kirk up as, and how they want them to follow that. And so that's what's going on here. These people are not trying to have open dialogue. And not only that, Joe, you take Trump, okay? Trump was very clear in saying he was not going to call Governor Tim Walz after those 4 folks were shot in Minnesota. 2 were killed, including former Speaker of the House and her husband. Now today he's saying, he never even heard of Melissa Hortman, and if the governor had asked him, he would have, of course, lowered the flags to have staff. I'm sorry, he's also lying. He knew about her. He knew about the shooting, but he was so arrogant that he said, 2 Democrats, a Democrat Speaker of the House shot and killed. Yeah, I don't care, but lower the flags to have staff with Charlie Kirk. Flies body on Air Force 2. Do a memorial service at the Kennedy Center. Do another one at the Arizona Cardinal Stadium. Give him the Medal of Freedom. And I'm telling you, they're going to give him a state funeral. That's what you're seeing right now. And then you got Peter Hegseth going after members of the military who said anything negative in the aftermath of his death. You've got Kirk supporters creating a database of people of every social media post. And then even Vance said said it in the podcast, you call their employer. So the so-called free speech people all of a sudden are saying, if you say anything negative about Charlie Kirk after what took place last week, we're going to come after you, come after your job. Oh, I thought they hated cancel culture, Joe.
Yeah. Roland, I remember back in my right-wing radio days, I would come on every day, and there was always some story about some leftist group on a college campus that couldn't handle speech that made them uncomfortable
to say.
Roland, this is scary, and you and I are old enough, man, to remember huge figures in American history who were gunned down, struck down, military leaders, civil rights leaders. We are treating this 31-year-old podcaster, MAGA influencer, like he's Jesus Christ. So I come from the right. Why are my old colleagues and friends on the right doing this, Roland? Because the right wants a religious war. Let's just call it. They want a civil war. They want a holy war. That's why they're putting him up to be some Jesus-like martyr.
Absolutely. I mean, Glenn Beck literally came out and said he was a civil rights leader. Oh, my God, stop it. Stop it. I've seen people say, I've seen a lot of these videos, I'm leaving my church because my pastor did not mention him. This was a Christian warrior. And let's just be clear. You said it, white Christian nationalists. It's slaveholder religion. We heard a lot of this stuff during slavery, during Jim Crow, things along those lines. And this whole idea about, it was about debate. It was about, exchange of ideas. I mean, come on, let's just stop it. And so we see what's going on here. We see the games that are being played. And then what gets me, Joe, is this whole deal of, oh my God, the left, how they indoctrinated him and the accused killer going to a university. The dude was at a university for one semester, Joe. You're trying to tell me that one semester at a mostly white institution in Mormon, Utah, which is not a liberal bastion, somehow just radicalized him? I mean, it really is showing folks the hand they're trying to play.
Yeah, and I think even on top of that, Roland, I think it was like some technical school. So it wasn't some crazy liberal arts school for a semester. Look, cut through all the BS. The Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson, has publicly said that America should be a white Christian country. This is what animates my former party. Roland, you know me, right? Tea Party Hellraiser. I don't come from the left. I left the Republican Party when the Republican Party became MAGA. And my fellow Democrats and folks on the left need to understand, now these people are on the right. Now this is MAGA. MAGA now are the snowflakes. MAGA, Roland, they now need their safe spaces. It's funny, but it's not funny. And you're right about J.D. Vance, man. He just flat out lied. I mean, the last 30-year history of political violence in this country, the vast majority of it is right-wing. It always has been. And they put out this lie that it's only on the left. It's not even, Roland, a both sides problem between the left and the right. There is political violence on the left, but the vast majority is on the right, and they know that, and they're lying because they're trying to inflame their base. And Roland, I hear from their base every day, and let me tell you something, they are inflamed. I mean, they are ready to march and grab their you-know-what. This is a scary time.
It is, and folks need to understand what is certainly at stake. Joe Walsh, I appreciate you joining us on the show.
History of the cross, known by their works. What's the history of the cross? 500-year history of the cross. Murder, rape, destruction, deception, enslavement, burning, terrorizing. To maintain a slavery system, you must terrorize the people 24/7. They terrorize people from Africa and America for 400 years. Constant terror, 24/7, rape, murder. In the name of Jesus. This was Christians, not Buddhists, not Hindus. Christians. Christians, in the name of Jesus, when they said Jesus cursed black people, they call them Ham, cursed them to be slaves and persecuted forever. In the name of Jesus, raped our women incessantly, pissed in our mouths, made us eat shit. And they took and tried to clean up, not clean it up, but make it look more fashionable, I guess, by calling it chitlins. That's after slavery, of course, after so-called slavery. Because what was endured was not slavery. Look up slavery. Look up slavery. It does include murder, rape, terror. This is a Holocaust. And then now they try to downplay it. Oh, that was 400 years ago. No, it wasn't 40 years ago. I don't care if it was a million years ago. It was 40 years ago. It lasts for 400 years. As they're doing today. They took everything away from the slaves. Everything. Their name, their culture, their families, their religion, their minds, everything. Fed their children to alligators as alligator bait. And then they talk about what's going on in Gaza when they did 1,000 times worse. What's going over in Gaza now is simply just a miniature version of what they did. What they did was far worse than what's going on in Gaza. Gaza's bad. It's genocide. What they did was far worse and much longer. That's the legacy of Christianity. Murder, rape, disease. They wiped out the native population with genocide and disease. Smallpox blankets, knowing they was full with disease. Herpes, syphilis, gonorrhea from sleep with animals. So-called common cold was not common. It didn't exist here on this side of the world until they brought it here. Murder, rape. When they was raping our women, they had a cross hanging from their neck. And again, they taught blacks that this was God's will. God's will. Enslavement of our people. And they continue on even today. That's the legacy of Christianity, the cross. So where's your rap sheet? Every time they arrest one of our people, your rap sheet. What's your rap sheet? How are you going to judge people for murder when you're guilty of murder beyond imagination for hundreds of years? Hundreds of years. Theft. You stole this land and murdered its people. And you crushed the native people here when the braves would go out hunting, you would come into the camps like cowards and kill the women and smash the children's brains out on the hooves of your horses. This is the legacy of Christianity. That's the legacy of it. The question is, if instead of Columbus coming here, Dracula came here, Beelzebub, Wolfman, Frankenstein, Satan, and they all came instead of Columbus. What could they have done that Columbus and those that followed him did? Satan is the God of this world. That's the God they're serving. They have known him by their works. What are the works of Christianity? What are the works of Christianity? Where's the works of Christianity? Evil, deception, mischief, bloodshedding. It goes on today. And what's going on in Gaza, just reflection and microcosm of what was done here in America for hundreds of years. Raped out women incessantly. They would even rape while they was out in the fields picking cotton. They would jump off their horse and tell them to bend over and rape them. And tell them to keep picking cotton while they was doing it. This is the kind of stuff that they would do. Make one slave defecate and slave and slave in the mouth of another slave, and then bound it up so they couldn't spit it out for 7 days. That's a legacy of slavery. You did it all in the name of Jesus. That's a legacy of slavery. Legacy of slavery. 40 years plus. Legacy of Christianity. Legacy of the cross. That's the legacy. That's the true legacy. So whose works are those? Who are you serving? Who are you serving? The legacy of the cross. Where's your rap sheet, America? Gog? Where's your rap sheet, Magog? Britain? Where's your mateship? Where's your rap sheet? Antichrist, false Israel? What's your rap sheet? Then they colonized Africa. They're stealing for ripping off everyone. It's the legacy of Christianity. It's been ruling for over 500 years. And now, the threat of nuclear war to finish off everything. That's a legacy of Christianity in the name of your Jesus.
and going westward or going out there in the land, ain't no cities, no towns, no infrastructure out there. Surely you ain't talking about that, are you? No. We ain't going back to Africa. No. This is your land. Our sweat, our tears, our blood has earned us the right to the land. What God wants you to do is come out of their ways. Come out of their pagan holidays where you should be honoring Jesus. You are out here buying bunny rabbits and inviting your children to paint eggs for some Easter hunt. Come out of her. Get the Santa Claus out of your house and a tree that is the way of the pagans. Come out of her. St. Valentine's Day. The heck is that? Excuse me. Come out of her name. Come out of her religion. Come out of her culture. Come out of her way of life. Come out of her educational system.
Back to their people. When they was put off on the shores of North America. And this ship, Jesus, that John Hawkins brought our best hero. They stood and stared at it disappearing in the whole rhythm, crying, wanting to return. With their hands stretched out towards that ship and tied in chains themselves bound together. And when they was put off on this memorable shows, they stood there staring at that ship that brought them to a strange land and a strange people who could not speak either one's language. Now they have to live in a strange country and a strange people who had proven to them every mile from their native land that they were going to be the worst enemies that they ever lived with. They were going to be the people that would destroy them. They soon discovered that on this ship that they were being brought here on. I don't know how we should say anything in the name of Jesus of good for us when this ship was named Jesus. This is how that we have always been deceived by the white man, trying to use Jesus, the name Jesus, to lull us off in a mental sleep, thinking that we are on our way to heaven. This is terrible. My beloved brothers and sisters, this is very hard for us to even to accept today. Imagine our parents standing crying to return to their native land and people, and you enemies who have destroyed us and seeks to further destroy us. How do you feel? How do you feel? Not wanting to return to your people. They are trying to make love with the very people that destroyed you and your parents. How do you feel? Acting so. And even today, they are beating and shooting you down throughout the country. There is no justice here for you and me. Why is it that you want to be separated and be returned to your own? I ask you that question. Think over your parents on the eastern shore of North America, crying and praying to God to be returned to their own 400 years ago. How would they like, or you like to see them rise up in the judgment, condemning you for being such fools as now want to live in the land that absolutely enslaved them and killed them and beat them for 300 long years here. They would condemn you as being fools for not wanting to be separated and go to your own, build up a nation for yourself after the white man say you were free. Remember that.
us packing our bags and going westward or going out there in the land. Ain't no cities, no towns, no infrastructure out there. Surely you ain't talking about that, are you? No. We ain't going back to Africa. No. This is your land. Our sweat, our tears, our blood has earned us the right to the land. What God wants you to do is come out of their way. Come out of their pagan holiday, where you should be honoring Jesus. You are out here buying bunny rabbits and inviting your children to paint eggs for some Easter hunt. Come out of her. Get the Santa Claus out of your house and a tree that is the way of the pagans. Come out of her. St. Valentine's Day. What the heck is that? Excuse me. Come out of her name. Come out of her religion. Come out of her culture. Come out of her way of life. Come out of her educational system.
Back to their people. When they was put off on the shores of North America. And this ship, Jesus, that John Hawkins brought our best hero. They stood and stared at it disappearing in the whole rhythm, crying, wanting to return. With their hands stretched out towards that ship and tied in chains themselves bound together. And when they was put off on this memorable shows, they stood there staring at that ship that brought them to a strange land and a strange people who could not speak either one's language. Now they have to live in a strange country and a strange people who had proven to them every mile from their native land that they were going to be the worst enemies that they ever lived with. They were going to be the people that would destroy them. They soon discovered that on this ship that they were being brought here on. I don't know how we should say anything in the name of Jesus of good for us when this ship was named Jesus. This is how that we have always been deceived by the white man, trying to use Jesus, the name Jesus, to lull us off in a mental sleep, thinking that we are on our way to heaven. This is terrible. My beloved brothers and sisters, this is very hard for us to even to accept today. Imagine our parents standing crying to return to their native land and people, and you here today crying to stay with the very enemy that brought our fathers in subjection to their will. you are now turning your face from your own native land and turning it back towards our own prison house and our own enemies who have destroyed us and seeks to further destroy us. How do you feel? How do you feel? Not wanting to return to your people. They are trying to make love with the very people that destroyed you and your parents. How do you feel? Acting such. And even today, they are beating and shooting you down throughout the country. There is no justice here for you and me. Why should not you want to be separated and be returned to your own? I ask you that question. Think over your parents on the eastern shore of North America, crying and praying to God to be returned to their own 400 years ago. How would they like, or you like to see them rise up in the judgment, condemning you for being such fools as now want to live in the land that absolutely enslaved them and killed them and beat them for 300 long years here. They would condemn you as being fools for not wanting to be separated and go to your own, build up a nation for yourself after the white man say you are free. Remember that.
Assalamu alaikum, sisters and brothers. Sulman Rahim here, Veteran of Covenant. Okay, brothers and sisters, it's been a year now, and We're finally home after 40 years in Arabia. I'm reporting to you from Arabia. Finally home after 40 years. Right? And so we've been here a year now. And there was an agreement made. A former slave master, he said, we had a choice. Stay here or leave. Right? So we chose our inheritance, Arabia. So we left. And half the original people decided they wanted to give up their inheritance and traded for a place in America in reconciliation with their former slave master. That's their choice. They chose, said, we don't want to go over to Arabia. We don't go over to that sand and all that stuff. We want to stay here in America. We've been here all our lives, been here 40 years, born here, right? And we can make peace with our slave master. Okay, so they decided to stay. And so after a year, right, we get reports of how things are going over there. And it doesn't sound too good. How things are going over in America with their reparations. Because they was given, they got 6 states, I believe. Yeah, see? Yeah. Yeah, they got those 6 states right there. That's what Farrakhan told them. They was following, listening to Farrakhan. Farrakhan promised them, they stay there, 6 states, right? Had their own land. And they can make reconciliation with the former slave master. They're not devils. They're not devils. They're human beings. They just had a rough, they were just, did some things wrong, but now they're gonna make amends and make reparations. So 6 states, and in addition to that, they gave everybody $1 million. Everybody stayed $1 million. Right? Say, thank you, Farrakhan. They're so happy. Thank you, Farrakhan. Thank you, Farrakhan. Man, you got 6 states. That's what you promised us. We got 6 states. They're thanking you. Thank you, Farrakhan. Right? And this was a year ago. They got the 6 states. Thank you, Farrakhan. Right? Everybody got $1 million. Everybody $1 million. And they're rejoicing. Oh man, they're so happy. Hey, we made it. We got America, man. We got reconciliation for a master. We got 6 states. Everybody got $1 million. We're all rich. That was a year ago when we left. So we're in Arabia. They're still back there in America. And now we're getting reports a year later. This was the way it was a year ago, man. They were so happy. They were so happy. Right? And now we get reports of what's going on right now. Let's see. Oops, it says a power failure. Great power failure in those 6 states. Power failure. And it's just those 6 states. Right? So, and now they had a big mass. They came asking to turn the power. Well, why can't they do it? Oh, Farrakhan didn't train anybody. He was telling you about 6 states, but he never prepared you for them. So nobody knows how to do it. How to turn the power grid back on. So now he's begging, man, Master, can you come and turn this thing back on for us? I mean, you would think that if he told him 6 states to promise him that he would have prepared him for it, right? Have schools and education, whatever they needed for that. But now I guess they didn't, because they say over there now he's begging the former master to come and turn the power back on. Isn't And then what? I mean, this is all that's happening now. I mean, I'm getting these imports in now. A year later, it's like they're coming in every hour. Power grid failure, right? Then I said, oops, crop failure. All of a sudden, there's no. They looked at the farmers, when they done the farmers said, oh. So then, master, what's happening here? How come you know, right? Our crop. They found that the land they gave them wasn't that fertile. A year later, nothing's growing. Crop failure. And now they master, what's happening here? Right? And then, I mean, all these things, every hour that's coming in, right? And then they look, and they had, a year ago, they had plenty of food on the shelves, right? And now, they look there now, and all the food's gone. It's gone. And she said, what am I going to do here? Food's gone. The house is empty. So he said, Master, we need some food. Well, how come you can't produce your own food? I mean, you want your own country. You got your own states. That's your country. Then you run it. What are you calling us for? Right? So they've been praying. And then, oops, no fuel. There's massive no fuel there. Well, you got to buy your fuel. You got to produce your own fuel. What you calling us for? You got your own 6 states now. What you calling us for? Go and get some fuel. You got money, right? You got your own states. So you got to get your own. What you calling us for? You said you wanted your own, so now you got it. And you got your reparation, so we don't owe you anything anymore. We don't owe you anything anymore, so what you calling us for? We don't owe you anything. You said you agreed to 6 states and $1 million per person. You took that instead of your inheritance, what you call the Abrahamic covenant, Arabia. Your brothers and sisters, they left. They took that was offered to them. They took it, and you said no. I want this instead. So now you got it. So what you calling us for? Oh, no communications. Oh, man. No communications, right? No medical facilities. So what's going on, Master? Wait a minute, hold on. What you calling us for? That's yours. You got to handle that stuff. You want us to handle it for you? You want independence, now you have it. I mean, wow, this stuff was coming every hour, man. Instead of like a year, they was celebrating. And now they crying and begging the master, okay, we got all these problems here. I said, wait a minute, that's yours. Where you come about your problems? You have to work those out. Right? No transportation, I mean, no planes, no nowhere. We learned about fly the planes and drive the trucks and the boats and stuff and to go and get this stuff. What would you done this for? You wanted this, you got it. So go ahead and get to train your own pilots, build your own planes, build your own boats and right? You see what I'm saying? Transportation, build your own trucks. What you calling for? Yeah, Master, we see this. You said you wanted 6 states, you got it. You want $1 million per person. That was your reparations. So now if you didn't pay people to take care of this, how's that our problem? You're independent now. You're really free now. Oops, no fuel, the gas station's empty. I can't drive, eh? And no gas. Man, wow. All this stuff happened like for a year. They thought that everything was great, and all of a sudden everything ran out. So I guess what happened? Everything was there when they got it, and then it ran out. They had to, some of them replace the fuel, to get the farms going. So they was left with that stuff. The factory was full. Warehouses full. Then you had to keep. They thought that was just going. I guess they thought it was just going to be there, just by itself. They didn't prepare for it. See, and they ain't trained any engineers and scientists and architects and stuff. They business. They didn't train anybody. So Farrakhan, he told you he's going to get this for you, but he didn't prepare you for it. He didn't get anybody to handle this stuff. So what was that all about? So now he asked the master, said, hey, don't call on me. You was here, you had it when you was here with me. You said you want independence, you wanted reparations, so you gave it to you. Well, calling your brothers over there. They left, they handled their own business. You said you want to stay here. Right? See? Don't have any professionals or technicians, scientists, doctors, none of that. See? That's what, because, if you're going to set reparation, you should be preparing for that, right? So if he was telling you about reparation, you should be preparing for it. If he said, God said that's where he's going to get you, so if God told him he's going to get that for you, then he should, like when God told Noah there was a flood coming, to only build an ark, so he started building an ark. And so you should start preparing for the 6 states and the reparations, but apparently you didn't. And so now, it does say, look, hold it. We want total separation. Look, we don't want you to call us no more. We don't want you to call us no more. Because you're wearing us. You want your own country. You got your own land. Right? You got money, $1 million, all this stuff, right? And so now we got to protect your money and everything too? No, you have to really create your own money. You have to do all these things, your own wealth, not ours. Right? So we're going to cut you off from that too. That's all economics. So they go and tell it. They tell all the people all the white folks, right? Because all the black folks, now all the black folks is either in Arabia or in those 6 states. That's the solution. You had to be one way or the other. There couldn't be no integration, that kind of stuff. That's the deal. He just said one or the other. So all the black folks are there, ain't no integration, that kind of stuff, right? Black folks are there, one or the other, so they're there. So he said, okay, right? So they just said, we're going to take that money because we don't know what y'all doing over there. You have your own money, you have your own wealth. So what they do is they tell all the white folks, say, protect your money, right? Transfer your money into gold. Just all your dollars into gold. Right? Now remember, they gave everybody $1 million apiece. So everybody got $1 million apiece, right? And so they transfer it to gold. And then what happens is that what they do is they start just printing money. White folks just start printing money. You understand what that means? That's inflation. Right? Because if you got $1 million of gold, a million ounces of gold, I say $1 million ounces of gold, understand this, and you got 1 million certificates, then you say each certificate is worth 1 ounce. If you got 1 million ounces, each certificate is worth 1 ounce. Understand that? If you got 1 million ounces of gold and you got 1 million certificates, each one of those certificates is worth 1 million. If you want to say trade with the certificates, each one of the certificates is worth 1 ounce of gold. Right? But if you take and print, you say you got 1 million ounces of gold, and you got 1 million certificates, each one. But say you print twice as many certificates, you got 2 million. Well, then each certificate is only worth 50 cents now, because you got to connect that to the gold. Well, you print 4 times, then each one's worth a quarter. So the more you print, the less they work, because those certificates has to equal what the gold is. You understand? So the more you print money, the less, right? The less they're worth. So if you print twice as much money, right, there's less gold. You understand? So $1 is worth 1 ounce of gold, which that's right. Then if you print double that amount of dollars, then each one's worth half an ounce. You understand? That's what printing money without increasing their wealth does. That's inflation. So what happens is they keep printing. They get down to where $100 is worth a penny. But see, that doesn't affect their people. They try to protect their money because they transfer their money to gold. So gold still has its value. It's just the dollars don't. It still got the same amount of gold. But the dollars, they get down to a penny. So you can't buy it. You had $1 million, now your $1 million worth of $5. That's what all this worth. $1. Hardly worth anything. Hey, that's our money. You got to have your own money. You got to control your own wealth. You can't keep coming at us what you're doing. And you think they wouldn't do that? Yeah, you've been a Gaza lately? You see what happened to the trees they made with the so-called natives? Kept telling me you had a forked tongue because they kept making trees with them, then they broke the trees. And took their land and genocide and everything else. But no, they wouldn't do that to you. See? Because now you have, your money's worth nothing. They haven't lost anything. Because once that money's worthless, it's no good, right? Then you burn it up, throw it away. It's worth nothing. The people still got gold, and even if they take it, hold on the money, hope to increase again, they just use another different certificate, use another form of money. So it's still worth nothing. That $1 million you had, you was so happy with it now, it's probably worth maybe $1. So you can't buy anything with $1. Plus the economy's collapse because everything is failing, and you don't know how to repair it. You don't know how to build communications. You don't know how to do any of this stuff. You're not an engineer, build a house. You don't know how to do anything because Farrakhan didn't. Right? He didn't prepare you. He told you he'll give you 6 days. He told you, listen to me, right? So now you're broke, and your economy is gone. You have no food, no electricity, no power, anything. All right? It's not their fault. They gave you what you asked for. You still had your inheritance for that. And then they closed the border. Because you're going to try to get back into America now. We want to come back in, Master. No, we don't want you back in here. We sorry, we want to come in. No. That's you chose. You stay there. They closed the border, so you can't get back in here. You can't get back in America, into what you call your land now? Swaziland or something? Farrakhan. Maybe call it travel land. Farrakhan. They met the Farrakhan, right? So they closed the borders. You can't. Because now you're hungry and everything else. Your money's worthless. Oh God, come back, Master. I come back work for you. I work for Popeyes. I do anything you want. No, we don't. Remember, the blacks either they over in Arabia or they in that land. There are no blacks in America, any places, just in that land that you 6 days. And now you're starving. You ain't got your money's worthless. Nothing works, and they close the border. Right? And then you see Master, you on the phone. You talking to the guy that you kept treating, help you. Hey, we finally got rid of niggas. Finally got rid of them. Finally got rid of them. See on the phone. Yeah, it worked. We sold them no reparations. We sold them that used car. They turned the miles back and everything else, and they bought it. See, they could have had a BMW. They could have had a Lamborghini. They sold that for a BMW that looked good. Damn thing didn't work. And now they're starving. Living in tents. Praying. And so what? Then what next? What we gonna do, Farrakhan? What we gonna do, Farrakhan? You told us to take reparations, so we did. But they gave us everything we asked for. What we gonna do, Farrakhan? What we gonna do? Pray, 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 pray. That's his answer. Pray, pray, pray. That's your reparations. Like Elijah Muhammad said, he had a big picture. We leaving, and blacks staying on the shore, the ones stay behind, and they was whooping their ass. Right? Because they all thought you think they were going to give you some land and take care of you? You think they were going to do that? And go bankrupt, give everybody $1 million? How much that is? If it's 17 million, that's 17 million times 17 million times a million is like $17 trillion, I think, something like that there. And they're gonna do all that for you. They want to get rid of you. So now they have succeeded. Because they closed the border. And what you gonna do? You gonna fight to come out? They closed the border. They got the military around there. They finally got rid of you. No more black problem, no more Negro problem anymore. One group's out of here, another group that's here. They're gone, and our hands are clean. We gave them what they wanted. Well, anything. Okay. God honors contracts. Remember, he honored the contract with Jacob. Esau sold his birthright for a bowl of soup to Jacob, it was Esau's inheritance, and God honored it. Okay, Jacob, it's yours. You're the one. And that's the deal. Because he ain't your friend. Farrakhan ain't your friend. Pray, pray, pray. That's the answer. And this homeland you was promised, you rejected it. So now you got what you asked for. So if they gave you reparations today or tomorrow, how would that scenario not play out like that? Well, they say, okay, you got it. Tell me how the scenario wouldn't play out like that. And tell me why they wouldn't do it. They love you so much, they're going to say, okay, we're going to take care of them. I mean, why should they go out their way to take care of you when you was right here? You was working at Popeyes and then they get up on Section 8, all that stuff right here, because they're trying to get rid of stuff right now. Trump's trying to get rid of all that stuff right now. Because they're closing on you. You don't realize it. Anyway, that's just, that's what's happening over in America. Wow. Boys coming here. It's a disaster over there. And, I just got a call. Oh, wait, hold on. Really? You serious? Our ambassador just got a call from I don't know what they call it Conland or something. I forgot what it is, something name called right there. That 6th day. They begged us to come and help. Can they come over here? Can we come and get them? Really? Can we come and get them and bring them? Oh no. Now he went and asked his master Farad Muhammad, right? He said, no, hell no. We ain't going to get them. And I agree with that. Yeah, the master said he said, let's call him, and he passed the word to Master Muhammad. Master Muhammad said, send him back. Master, no, we can't come and get you. You made your choice, live with it. But die, whatever the situation is. Wow. I can't believe that. They actually, right, sent a message over. I don't know how they did. I don't have any communication with it. Somehow they got the information over to them. Said, would we please come and get them? Nope. Said, no, tell them no. And don't waste time communicating with us anymore. You got your land. You got your reparations. You got your money. You got Farrakhan as your leader. Yeah, tell him. Talk to him. Let him straighten out for you. He didn't want to sell you the idea. He was a salesman. So you on that idea of reparations. We told you. Right? Suleiman, right? He was the messenger to you, telling you, look, man, let's go home. You said no. You chose not to. Okay, bro, since that's a side story. But I guess that's it. Is that it? Oh, so they might get any more reports on because, okay, he says that was Matthew Prophet Muhammad's final decision, and I think they closed communications off from there. So that's it, brothers and sisters. We got those rides that came in. All that came in today, man. It came in fast. After a whole year. Total collapse. Now they're begging it. Somebody help them. We can't do it. Maybe Master help you. We won't do it. Assalamu alaikum. Update, brothers and sisters, got another late report in that they said, well, if you want to come and get us, we'll at least send some food. They begged, said, please send some food. Master Muhammad said, no, we got to send them a damn thing, nothing, zero. He said, please just send some food. No, I just got that in. He says, if you can't come and get us, please send some food. He says, no. He refused. That's the report. I just got the information from the ambassador. He said, they sent that. He's made to me. He says, no. He said, please, just please send some food. He said, no, no way. You made your choice. Case closed. Okay. Just got that in, brothers and sisters. Assalamu alaikum.